Jackson.
G, huh?
Yeah.
There's Sue Winters. She is cute. She's a
Let's see a birthday smile.
grandma.
Uh-oh.
Grandma,
It's a birthday smile over here.
give him a birthday smile.
Birthday smile. It's moving pictures.
Yeah. Oh, those are pretty flowers, man. Well, this I raised from one year to another, so
Oh.
I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
Is that an iris? No,
Those are lilies.
he's That- a lily. An iris?
That's a violet.
Violet?
An African violet. Mine's
I don't-
just flowering.
I don't
for
know
the
my
third
flowers.
time.
I'll tell you, I don't know my flowers.
Mine, my flowers dropped off my violet, and now
And,
they're just perked right back up again, and I've got just as many flowers.
Graduation pictures.
Very nice.
We had the graduation. We had 2 deaths. And we go 2 ways. Went to one just a short time ago. Haven't you got through yet?
He's busy. He likes taping people behind.
Especially yours.
Yeah. When I'm getting my pajamas on. No less.
You know, I never did get to see that. Well, I saw the flasher.
You're not going to see that one either.
Didn't he put it on tape?
Yeah, he's got it on tape. Got me on tape because I pulled my shirt up too, and I had a tube top on.
Uh-oh.
I said, see?
Yeah.
But I had a tube top on. Then I flashed him. One.
One. That other girl, she did do. Bloop.
Oh, I've done that before.
Oh, yeah.
You want something for your camera? Here.
That's enough, we're good.
Yeah,
try somebody else.
Everybody else.
Yeah, go take somebody else. Go take one of Grandpa over there.
Yeah. Where's your son?
Yeah.
Go get your son.
He's around here somewhere.
Not the one right there. That's all. No. Jennifer.
I gave her
Jennifer.
Yeah. No. That sewing machine was supposed to be fixed for her. Turns around, gets a set. It's good. I said I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, thanks.
Give her one and you don't have to worry about it for long. You'll sit down.
I can try some of that.
Sewing. I was doing some sewing.
That stuff never even went in our town. A couple places start selling it.
Rose.
Which one?
That one. Gray pants.
No, why don't you keep I've got my
What do you say, James?
Not too much, you?
I put apple beer, by guys.
Oh,
First one today.
Yeah?
Yeah. I went down and worked on the farmers convention.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I like to try the different kinds of beer. Like when I go to a wedding, all the
Yeah?
beer.
When was that, yesterday?
get this, we're gonna see the fishes. Yep, boat.
Oh, look at this boat.
When I went down to Florida. I work over here. When she made me to where I was, that's she loves the soul, you know. And they went
Top shelf all the way. So nobody will pipe by. So we're gonna see the difference.
Oh.
We're like, a regular 16 by 20 would be. Show me what the cheap of this. Most people will go with that. Some of my people are like they're going to regular.
Yeah.
Nice camp ocean colors and they'll stay the same for a longer period of time.
That's your, I'll be mine out.
The colors are absorbed.
Get out of here. See?
Oh gosh, I was trying to get out of the way.
No, you don't get out of his way.
I see it.
Tonight we'll go home and we'll watch that.
You don't have enough blood.
Put it.
That's my son-in-law. Oh, this is Terry. This is Carol's husband. The Massachusetts
How you doing?
Carol here? Yeah,
She just
Just went inside.
No, all I saw was
Hamburg here.
Paul. No,
His sister.
Carol.
Oh, you belong to her.
Yeah, that's
Well, not what?
There's Carol.
Yes.
And there's Scotty.
No, I guess I never met.
Well, he was down to the river anyhow.
Well, now I know. Fake.
Come on, Cookie. I know it.
I have to put my sun lenses on.
Yeah, you can take
A certain feeling.
You going home tonight, Carol, or you staying tomorrow?
Try to light
You
it
gotta go to
on.
work tomorrow? What time?
7.
Oh, I'll be following you up to 20th.
No.
Yeah.
That's Chuckyville.
When you go back, when you're coming up to 20th?
Well, that's
I guess you're coming up to 20th?
no.
I'll be following you back when you guys go back.
Really?
Carol.
That's like the other day.
Boy, you're getting me screwed.
What?
No, no. Terry will make her grand. It'll be in the middle of eating. Oh, it doesn't mean she did the same thing off the brownie. You know, remember?
They can see. You know exactly how you're gonna do it.
Told,
Why?
Grandpa that he was coming.
Girl,
Take a hold of her arm.
right?
If I don't take a hold of her arm,
They never did.
I won't say anything. Nobody's gonna walk over
Right.
and get you.
They said he was coming.
I want to see that garbage.
I know, I just said it. That broke the lid.
Oh, okay, no problem.
No, I said I'll go with you. Yeah.
It's the beginner that comes out there.
Might as well get my face in the picture too, right?
You were traveling.
Why doesn't everybody get
Now
up
I
there?
can get my face in the picture. Drinking a bug noise. I'm working around all these tables.
Yeah. Oh, you got it on rolling there?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is.
Tony.
It's the uncertainty of it all.
Nah, you're on camera.
Right.
Yeah. And George. Well done. I knew right where to look. What are you doing? Jim, I got a plate over here for you with your silver.
Yeah.
Give me one. More than I can eat.
Something dead.
Yes, I heard. Yesterday. You're going to think over it.
Yeah, sit down and we'll bring you something to eat.
blamed you.
Oh, no, I mean them out there.
Cheese.
We can turn that off, I guess. Yeah.
I'll wake it up. Spaghettios.
You find something to eat? Oh, you're going for your chicken again, huh?
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I missed that. I'll have to come back.
I won't miss that. German potato
I
salad.
ain't gonna miss it.
Come on, you guys.
Just don't get into it.
Yeah. Nice variety. Yeah, right there.
Oh, that's all right. It's not bothering me.
What is it, sweetie? Vinegar.
Those are chicken, but they haven't been pork. Yeah, pork. Here.
Didn't you say they sell them in beef and pork and lamb and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Were they noticed when you moved?
Oh, yeah.
Unless they're gizzards or something like that.
They have them out
Those are speedy. That's marinated chicken.
Marinated chicken.
Vinegar and oil and spices.
Oh, I remember.
You could make it feel like
Can't you eat it? What? This is a grilled chicken. We buy extra sharp cheese and either make white sausage or cheese it or just
Hi, Bobby.
just put in cans and layers it with macaroni, a little butter, something.
You got her? You can
Yeah.
Signs on them beans.
There's Jessica. The other Jessica.
Morning, everybody. Stay on the right side. Right?
Oh, she did.
On the upwind side.
Kinder cheese here.
I can see him sitting there filling down. G-A-S, water. Good, yeah. Way too long.
You've been around only
What
once.
is this? One of our...
I only been around once, so you better be.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Oh, this thing has
Hey, you know.
Ready?
My wife?
Yeah, I got one from your wife. I had to bring one for Chuck.
I got the sharp back.
This is Patty's husband.
Hey, how are you?
That's my friend John Akes and my friend. There.
like the zoo?
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
Chicken with, and then spices. Just, yeah. What did you see at the zoo?
I think we like to do it.
Try for a little while. Get us started.
We watched her on tape.
Oh yeah, with 2 Islands?
Just like someone I know.
Go in the water. Go down there in the water. That's
Try that.
luck. The other job's the way available and how you going to pay when you get done.
Real bears? Were you afraid of them? That big? What's his name?
Got the full phone out there.
She rode an elephant.
No, not at all. Didn't have any problem.
Do you remember my husband? We leave.
Yeah.
Number 2, professional.
Songs are in this paper in here are God is dead and the devil.
The garbage in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the songs are right in here.
Yeah.
Oh, here she comes.
Oh, yeah. Terry and Chucky got lost about the road. We had to redirect them.
Hi, Laura. Don't forget.
She did it funny.
Hi, Mikey.
Whoa.
You take off her glasses for her?
Oh, sale and everything's right over there. Everybody's
Huh? Water. Yeah. You're right.
actually.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, hello, hello. There we are. Here, Laura.
Hey, Chuck.
Whoa.
Everybody was so hungry.
Grandma Rosie.
Hi.
Market it.
What'd you do? Get lost? Terry? Get lost? You couldn't come across the bridge, huh?
Look at Waddle. We need him for supper on water. If they're not, we're going to go.
Hi. Did you?
you, Buster. Huh? Hey!
That's nice. He just took a
Well, I just took a picture of the tree up there. You leave camera alone. Yes.
Devil in him.
Yes. Would you expect the wicked grandma?
pony ride for the kids.
Nope.
I'm sure I'm doing a good job there. At first she was talking about how much money that I paid down there. Now you pay the cost of living. You figure what the cost of living is, just like making the week that was
Oh, Mommy's gone. She'll be back in a
well,
minute.
they were like
Hey. Soda? Scotty? I don't know.
not without a good trade.
Okay, they don't matter.
I don't have a trade today.
Thank you. Here he goes again. Look out. Sign views today.
I had them work days and you work nights.
I don't know. She's over
Next
there.
I go to the photography studio.
Don't go
Alright.
over there.
Moved up to the
Hi, Mike.
that
Yeah?
He says soak it. Don't bang it, but don't use it.
You're gonna be ready? Hey,
Well, I
gonna be
can only
ready
get
in 2
down
weeks?
so far. Because the stitches are right across here.
You can see it swelled up quite a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. They've been worse than
Where you going?
Huh? Someone orders something.
Pumpkin?
Boy, Rob, where you going?
My, yeah,
Not a
right.
trade that you like to use it. Try to put all your effort in.
Aren't you gonna eat?
So many people, regard
Where's your tape? It's over there by the swing. You better go pick it up. Lola, come here.
Right in your refrigerator the same way. Oh no. How long have you been doing it?
Started Tuesday, and I finally drank myself to death this Friday,
Oh great.
when the whole ear tail and everything else was infected.
Now.
Drops.
Bye, Paul. Bye, Paul. He does that to me. You get out to the drive-in, all of a sudden you'll beep the horn, and I say, oh, there he goes. Bye, Paul. He knows to be home early.
Where'd you get rid of him? 2 weeks. Paul Edwards.
Well, his last final is 16.
Right.
And you're coming up to 20. So something him coming down.
No.
Do you go down?
Yeah.
Do you go back down and he'll follow you down?
Then you'll know what it's at.
Well, instead of taking that clunker, you're going to take my step.
I told him. That's why Jerry was about the tires the last time we were on. Huh?
Hey, it's
Laura,
better,
are you gonna eat?
it's better on gas.
Yeah.
What's that, B2?
No. Paul taking my truck to Massachusetts.
didn't live with you, anybody can borrow your vehicle as long as they don't live with you. Drive it, okay. If they live with you and drive it, you gotta be in spouse.
Well, he ain't living with me. But he can use my vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tell you you're on.
We'll clear that one.
He lives across the street.
Oh.
That's it, no.
This is addressed to Elizabeth Duck.
Get all the aid. I use the partner.
Get out of there.
Things about insurance company.
By my way.
Anybody can drive your vehicle as long as you give permission to drive your own vehicle.
That
If
way
they live there,
I
again,
get
it's gotta be on the policy.
Yeah, but I was out of school. So you do it when you just get out of school. You don't just because I had waited. That's why I got more of them.
Cola.
Well, it's all right. I'm playing. Coupons in there too. Oh, are there? Feed my neighbor's cats. Yeah. Okay, then I'll take it in with my stuff. They were only borrowed. I took them down to bingo. Yeah. Thank you, Rosie. I'm right here, Grandma. Oh. You're welcome. Thank you. That's a beautiful card. Would you like a birthday? It's Karen, Bob, Danny, and Nancy. And last, we had a birthday party. And they gave me a beautiful bouquet of carnations. And they had some little white flowers in them. And I just threw them away today. I wrote it.
Cousin Rome.
What do you got, Ma? What do you got, Ma?
I don't know who it's from yet. Oh, Wayne and Courage. Thank you, Courage. Somewhere around here. Thanks for that. I think it's my name and Clergy, isn't it? I better read it again. Because I didn't think anybody else had anything. Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, I don't get to give them away. Chuck, I don't know
This looks like a pumpkin though.
Oh, Mom. Mom?
Laura, sit down. Sit
Oh, you want another one?
Actually, that one's wrong.
Okay.
Thanks.
They look like little ice cubes.
They're cute. How do they stay together so good?
Make it with Jello and knock skeleton.
Oh.
Yeah. And the
She gave me the recipe before, and I'm too stupid to try it.
Why? I made it today so everybody could try it. Oh, she put it all over there. See. Yes. Yeah. It's gotta be kept cold though. Something that is cooler, we could stick it in there.
Oh, you like your hands washed. You're just like Mikey used to be.
What?
Likes your hands
Finish
washed.
what you got
not really.
now.
She'd rather be dirty.
Squeeze it out.
She'd rather be dirty.
Be a zit.
If it wasn't for Dan.
You gotta sit down. All right.
Put her in this chair, it won't tip.
Okay.
Liz, make up your mind.
Yeah.
Here.
Wait a minute, honey.
Oh, she's already got one. She don't need no more. Oh! Tell Auntie. One. Tell Auntie. One. One.
Four.
You're not gonna tell Auntie and Aunt Carol? One. It's gonna make another plan, I thought.
Okay, she's not pregnant. She'll do one of those. Oh, is it?
She says it too. I didn't like it.
That's alright. Colleen with cottage cheese.
Robin is so amazed how much she looks like.
Kathy.
She
Laura eat cottage cheese. She does? Oh my God, can Colleen cottage cheese?
Look out!
One day there, she took a little bit of it. Oh God, get it away from her.
Look out for the swing. You're gonna get hit. Get hit by it, honey. Where's Mikey? Where? I don't know. What? Oh, he's where the cake is, of course.
Hey.
Sure can.
Alright. Oi.
Not even getting a picture of my grandmother's cake.
All the grand.
Hands up, Ronnie.
Hi.
Throw him a kiss. Throw him a kiss. Throw him a kiss. Throw Uncle Ronnie a kiss.
Do this.
Can you do that?
Who's this other girl with her? Hi.
Oh, now, come on.
Hi. Oh, not Mama.
It's Uncle Ron.
Somebody down like the candles.
You see Uncle Ron? You confused you. You got another Uncle Ron.
Smile, you're on camera. Smile, you're on camera.
Let Grandma cut the cake now.
cut the cake.
Who's got the?
Aren't you gonna light the candles?
You gotta light
They wouldn't stay long, Matt. I tried.
Oh.
Matt,
I'm not gonna cut the cake. I'll put the first
you
cut in
gotta
it.
put one cut in it. Good luck.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Make a wish.
What'd you wish,
Oh,
man?
right.
What'd you wish, man?
I'm
What'd you
not
wish?
gonna tell you.
Oh boy, you better get a glop for somebody else.
Boy, that tasted good. They can't light the candles because they won't stay lit.
The wind is dry.
So, here, somebody cut the cake.
We've had the speedy test.
No, not yet.
Not yet. It's yours.
My committee.
This Jean.
No, that's
No. I don't know. I carried it out. She cut it.
You gotta cut it long.
Shirley.
That's not my committee.
Come on, Jean, cut the cake.
This Jean's gonna do it.
You give him the money, then he'll go to the place and he'll buy them. Hey, absolutely. Wait a minute, they're putting this down for evidence. You never said a word. You didn't say anything about it. Kelly. Kelly.
That isn't fair. You get somebody else to take your committee. Oh, boy. She's a good kid. Oh, how about that?
There's a lot of them though. But I mean, there's a lot of them.
couldn't stand the smell because they sat in the jars. That stuff.
We got the ones in the plastic wraps. You open up the plastic around them.
You want no more? Well, you do it then, Smarty.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Young man would like a piece too. Here, Tara.
Hi, Gay.
Anybody else here need a piece? No, I think we're all set. I made one.
Distressed, isn't she, buddy? Like, that's all right. Mike turned around and sat down at Mikey's big girl chair. Right? Now, they'll hold it for 170 pounds. They only hold it for 170 pounds. I don't weigh 170.
Mine? Whose cake is that? About.
I said, you get out. I said, Well, I weigh more than you do.
Oh, that's what I weigh.
Hey, what's fair is fair.
He didn't believe me when I told him he weighed 180. You have a cake?
It's called Muscles in a Potbelly.
Did you guys get cake over here?
Yeah.
We're planning. Thank you.
Go suck donkey dick.
Laura, get off the pole. Everybody get a piece of hair.
Jeez, Mike, she's just like you.
No different. No, she's just like her mother.
No,
running
she's
up and
not.
down the floors.
No, she's not.
Not me.
She takes after her father.
See her. When I let her run naked, she goes right over and lays in her.
Oh, Laura, I'm like,
I'm like,
Uh-oh. She's going to take after him, sexual side.
so it's
oh, at least you got one of your kids acting like that.
Huh? They do not. They do not. Just if they
Eat a
cut
hot
up
dog
little-
yet?
They cut up little kitty cats and feed them tits.
Where?
I'm gonna eat, Mom.
What?
I'm gonna eat.
We already
on the
ate.
grill, you can go
Let's keep
meow.
going.
You're
trying
not.
to salad in it.
No, it's not cooking. I didn't get
Which one did you make?
What is it?
Which one did you make?
It's called a ham brunch salad. Something like that.
What is it?
Ham brunch. We've got ham, almond,
Sit down and eat.
Oh, the
sour
colorful
cream
stuff?
and mayonnaise
No, I didn't try it.
dressing.
The colorful stuff?
I know I didn't try it.
Alright, now.
You know me, I don't like this.
Alright, now.
Well, it's not all the way through it.
Park it.
I know what salad I did make. That's that
Laura.
Oh yeah, it has pineapple in it too. So I brought in fresh 2 forks. Not that bad, you'd like that. You might take
gave
out
him a
the
piece
celery
now,
and
huh?
slice it.
pleasant good afternoon to you wherever you might be. Welcome to Festival 88 on Great Radio, WSRO. Throughout the afternoon, during the Festival 88 annual parade here on Main Street, where Dick Smith and myself, Mike Lorenz, are stationed right now, we will also be simulcasting on Marlboro Cable Channel 30. And Dick, it is absolutely gorgeous. We got a reprieve. This time yesterday, you and I were sitting inside the van in the middle of Marketplace.
What a change in the weather, Michael. And it's just gorgeous. It's an ideal day to come out and view a parade. And people have taken the cue and are here. They're lined across the entire route of this Labor Day parade. And we're located at front of City Hall, on the balcony overlooking the parade route, and as far as we can see up and down both ways on Main Street, the streets are lined on both sides. Vendors are busy, of course, with their wares, selling their balloons and other inflatables. Lots of children and people of all ages here to view this annual parade, the Labor Day Parade in Marlboro. This festival report, by the way, is brought to you by A. Reese & Sons of Berlin. They promote the area with the finest concrete blocks, masonry supplies, patio blocks, bricks, sand, gravel, and various grades of stone. Have a great festival from A. Reese & Sons of Berlin.
Dick, it is absolutely gorgeous, about 75 degrees, and the floats will start coming by here, naturally led off by, as they always are, the fire apparatus. Over 35 pieces in this year, and I know if... Well, you haven't been up here. This is your first year of actually being in a stationary position. You've been out along the route in previous years.
Yes, the past 3 years I've been along the route, so we've seen the start of the parade. And, of course, I can just visualize what's happening up around Lincoln and Pleasant Streets at this time, as the sirens must be roaring and clanging, and the parade is underway from the site where Keishon Patrick and Michelle Breyer are situated. I wonder if they can come in now and tell us what's happening there. Perhaps we can hear those fire engines.
Well, I think you can hear the wailing of the sirens in the background right now, and that's what I was going to allude to. Oftentimes, when they are right in your proximity, you can neither hear nor be heard. If you are heading out towards the route right now and listening to us on WSRO and WMCT Marlboro Cable Channel 30, why don't you head on down here? Plenty of room along the route. There's still plenty of room. We're about 1, maybe 2 deep at most, so there's still plenty of room along the route where we can see, and it is an absolutely gorgeous day to be able to view this parade.
If you're coming downtown to view the parade, of course it will be about 20 minutes to a half hour at least, probably before the first unit of the parade, which is the fire engines, will be coming along. So there's plenty of chance to see it all if you come in from the east end of the parade route and downtown. The parade, of course, starts on Lincoln Street at the corner of Pleasant and all the adjoining streets in that area, where they feed off into Lincoln Street and then feed along over to Broad Street and down to West Main Street and right into downtown Marlboro. So that's the parade route, and wherever you are, come along and enjoy it. And bring your radio with you if you like to, and of course you may be able to follow the parade along the same way. And later on, you'll be able to follow it on TV on Channel 30, of course.
If you had been heading out towards the festival marketplace yesterday, you might have been disappointed because of the weather conditions. However, a number of the events that were scheduled for yesterday afternoon and early evening have been postponed and will take place this afternoon. Dick, that is true, is it not?
The pizza eating contest that was scheduled for 3 yesterday, that was sort of washed out, as a lot of events were. But that will be at 3 this afternoon. And there's another event that had a lot of young people registered for it, and that's going to take place tonight, of course. And that's, I guess, what you call a frog jumping contest. There's a lot of frogs entered into this one, and this is going to take place later today, along with all the other events that were scheduled at the festival grounds today. Now, those festival grounds are open. And those of you who, after you see your part of the parade, you can move right into the festival grounds and take advantage of all the activity that's going to be taking place there today. Of course, it will all be capped off by a concert by the Marlboro Symphony Orchestra this evening, and then the fireworks at 9 o'clock. And yesterday we wondered if those fireworks would come off by the blue skies we have today. Looks like it's going to be just a a great evening for fireworks as well to cap off this Festival 88.
Well, we were discussing it a little bit earlier, and to my memory, this is just about the nicest day that we've had for Festival, Marketplace, and also Festival Parade. The thing is, you know, one thing you don't take into consideration, but I'm sure you could possibly fill us in on, Dick, when you're out on the route, it gets very warm out there, and a day like this where the temperatures aren't really all that high, it makes it much more comfortable, especially if you're toting around one of those large musical instruments or band uniforms.
I think it's an ideal day for the marchers. It's an ideal day for those who love to come out and watch a parade. And what better parade in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts can you watch than this Labor Day parade in Marlborough today. So if you're, well, within 20 minutes to a half hour of Marlborough along the way, take a swing into the city and watch this parade today. There's room for you.
Once you get over to the festival, there are a number of things that you might want to take in if you haven't had an opportunity to get down to the marketplace itself. A number of the performances that are be taking place in the various tents, the Massachusetts tents and the Anna Walker tent. There is a program called Encore, which features local talent, as does all of the performances that will be performed in these tents along the next 10 hours once Marketplace or Festival Marketplace opens. Barefoot Cloggers, one of the annual treats that come here and delight the audiences that they perform in front of. There is a rock band called Trasm. There's the Marlborough Community Chorus. There is a production called The New Moon for Hattie, which is put on by the Elderkind Theater Group, which is a brand new theater group in the area and features recent retirees to older senior citizens maybe getting their feet wet for the first time doing a play.
And very well received thus far, even in the rains yesterday. The tents were quite filled with people who escaped the wet weather and got into the tents and saw some of these shows that were presented yesterday, and we heard nothing but good comments, very good comments on the various productions.
This Festival 88 report along the parade route is brought to you in part by Baroni Glass of Marlborough. They service the replacement of all auto glass, foreign and domestic, at 57 Florence Street in Marlborough. And the vendors are out along the route too, Dick, with their balloons and their inflatable crayons and horns and all sorts of things that parents are going to be real happy that they bought their kids once they get them home. They're cute. Those horns are real cute right here along the parade route. But you get them inside a 900 square foot house and they all of a sudden lose their appeal.
I wonder how long the balloons might last today. There are, of course, many that will be sold and have been sold. We can see them dotting the route now. But it is sort of brisk. The winds are kicking up a little bit because the skies are blue, but there's a lot of those white puffy clouds in the sky today, and they're wind-packed, and it's a little bit breezy. So if you get a balloon, youngsters, be sure you hold on tight, because I think we're going to see a lot of them sailing into the skies today.
Yeah, it's blowing from left to right field, and simulcast on Marlborough Cable Channel 30. And I am Mike Lorenz along with Dick Smith on this absolutely gorgeous day, and I think I'm as surprised as anybody. I kind of laid in bed, kind of depressed this morning, thinking we were going to have to come down here in full rain gear, and the last umbrella that I knew of that we had in the house went to its final resting place sometime around last November, and I was not looking forward to it being exposed to all the elements, but my goodness, it is.
You mean you didn't take advantage of that young man who was selling umbrellas at the festival yesterday? He was doing quite a business.
I wasn't going to get out of the van in that rain. Well, I think if you can possibly hear on your radios, the first of the fire apparatus are approaching, and the police officers along the route are now beginning to clear the roadway of pedestrians who are walking down the street, and that normally is the last process that goes on just prior to the parade coming into view.
As these emergency vehicles, the police and the fire engines approach in front of City Hall, you may not be able to hear us speak. And that might be a good opportunity as they get closer that we check in with Kay, Sean, and Michelle to find out what's happening along the route where they are located. Kay, Sean?
We are right here now. We're on the beginning of the route at Lincoln and Mechanic Street. And the Community of Jesus Marching Band, the first band right after the fire apparatus, the phrase threshold of pain comes to memory, Michelle.
That's right. 39 fire trucks and ambulances from all different communities. We've seen Stowe, we've seen Natick. We have the city councilors led by Marlboro Mayor Chester Connery coming by us now. Councilor Perry, Councilor Hogan, Councilor LaValle and Spratt are now passing us. Councilor LaValle and Councilor Spratt are dressed for the occasion, as well as Councilor Perry.
Now, which one is the councilor dressed in the Irish costume? That's what I'm interested in.
That would be Councilor Spratt, Ward 1.
Ward 1, Councilor Spratt, dressed like a leprechaun today. And what have we got here? Another classic car from the Classic Car Show, perhaps. Looks like a Packard from way back in the 30s. And it's sponsored by Marlboro something because the flag is being whipped in the wind. Here we go. Marlboro, the better we look, it's the Marlboro Pride Association.
That's right, that's right. We have several state police vehicles coming up now, probably just to keep order here.
Probably just to keep order. We have a lot of vendors here as well, Mike. I know you were mentioning the balloons and the noisemakers. Perhaps I'm going to challenge people down at the marketplace today to find a noise more obnoxious than the horns being sold here, but the kids do enjoy them a lot. We're going to continue to travel down the route right now as we are awaiting the next barrage of floats. It looks like a Marine Corps band, and we'll have to send it back right now. There is a bit of a pause in the action. Right here on Great Radio WSRO as we continue to broadcast live.
Thank you, Kay, Sean, and also Michelle. Michelle Breyer and Kay Sean Patrick will be on the route throughout the entire parade, getting a little bit of footwork in. And, Dick, I know that you have been out on that route. Is it tough? And if you had, say, a 50-pound tuba, would you be the worst of the wear at the end of this route?
I would on a real hot day, but today shouldn't be too bad, as long as you're able to handle that bit of musical instrument. I don't know how well you people can hear us because the emergency vehicles are getting much closer to us now.
We'll take it from you. We need a situation you're in right now. You're in the pleasure and pain mode down there at City Hall, so we'll take it from here until the fire apparatus has passed you by. And what we want to describe right now is the route is actually about to begin its second phase. The state police are paused and ready to keep order, as Michelle once said. And Michelle, what were you talking about the fire apparatus, though? There were a certain number amount in what towns?
They said that there was 39, including several antique fire apparatus, ambulances, fire trucks, police cars, cruisers from neighboring towns, from Natick, from Framingham, from Stowe. We saw an antique car from Canton, one from Revere, with former fire chiefs and current fire chiefs.
What's interesting, too, is as we describe it, it may not happen at the same time, but you'll be able to see this simulcast on Channel 30. And we've just been offered some inflatable dinosaurs. Unfortunately, we'll have to pass on them, and some interesting inflatable crayons. And here comes the first of the walking, what would you call it, the walking units. These are veterans of foreign wars.
Flag-bearing marchers. These are quite a large group coming towards us now. The first marching group. No band here. Just
flags and weapons, which I'm sure are not loaded, which I'm glad to find that out. And coming right behind them, there are some more veterans of foreign wars. And as we walk along the route, we're going to follow the VFWs. And they're also holding a flag for the POWs and the MIAs, which is a nice touch here. By the way, you are listening to Festival 88 on WSRO in Marlboro, simulcast on Channel 30 on your local cable stations, and hopefully you'll be watching that as well. Coming up next is a group of veterans playing a little joke on us here. They're starting to pull their trousers back up as they walk towards us now. And this is the honorary parade marshal, and you interviewed him, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had spoken to him very happy to be part of this year's parade. He had been involved in parades in Marlboro for a great many years. Interesting, the crowd response to all veteran groups. Very strong response, children waving flags, few people standing up to give them a round of applause, especially that MIA banner. That got a great deal of response.
It was. It's something that the people did take effect in. And as we're going to walk down right now towards the automobile, which is holding the honorary chairman of this year's parade, and right behind it, we've got a float, or I should say a float, but an automobile from Washington Street Motors. And let's see if we can get a word. How you doing, sir? WSRO. Enjoying the parade already?
I love it. This is great. Better than walking.
Can we hop in? Very excited to be in the parade this year. If we can, we're going to try and send it back to Scott and Mike. How does it sound down there, Scott and Mike? How the fire department gone by yet?
Yes, the fire department is coming by now. We had the initial vehicles in the parade, which were the police vehicles and the emergency apparatus, and they have passed our viewing stand here in front of City Hall. There were about 15 minutes from the start of the parade till the parade reaches City Hall. That gives you an idea of how long it takes to go from point 1 to City Hall. And of course the parade moves on well beyond here before it breaks up over on Maple. You can perhaps hear the sirens as they get closer, and we're looking for the vehicles that will win some of the trophies today. The overall best appearing fire apparatus, the apparatus coming the farthest distance. And that trophy will be presented by Great Radio, WSRO, the Otis motorized apparatus trophy, and the Otis still in service.
All right. Dick and Mike, if you can send it back to us for a minute. We've got one of the more interesting things heading our way. It's the 72-foot Uncle Sam. Actually, I would guess about 12 feet high. And he's right behind the Hudson National Bank float. What just went right by us before that, Michelle?
It was a group from Gloucester, another veterans group, and a National Guard group from Gloucester, Massachusetts, with their band. Uncle Sam is coming towards us now. Kisha, where do you suppose he buys his pants?
Probably from Goulds of Hudson. That would be my guess. Goulds of Hudson for tall men. And there he goes. He's been in this parade last year. I remember him last year. He has got a good stride going there.
I believe he's wearing Nike sneakers. Is that right?
Nike sneakers. Is that a plug for Nike, Michelle? I'm not too sure.
We've got the American Red Cross Disaster Services bringing up the rear. I hope they're not here for any practical reasons, just to show off their truck.
I'm all set and ready to roll here as we await the next group of floats. It looks like the younger groups are going to start passing our way, and we've got the spray confetti working over here. And let's see if we can talk to someone along the route here and find out what the situation is and if this is the loudest parade they've ever heard. Is that perhaps the loudest you've ever heard the fire engine in your life?
No.
No, was last year worse? You've heard better?
No, I've heard louder.
You've heard louder? The pain in my ears, the blood was beginning to trickle down the side of my head. People are responding very well to the parade, a lot of noisemakers here. The crowd along the route, probably 3 people deep on each side. And as we head now further up Lincoln Street, as we go by St. Anne's Church, as you can hear the bells are simultaneously going with us. And we're going to walk probably up to the Cozy Cafe up here and to greet some people and talk to some people. If we can send it back to Scott and Mike and Dick as well. We're going to set up down here in just a minute. Maybe not. It sounds like it's really loud down there, you guys. We'll have to take it down here a bit. And we're going to pass out some balloons and some bumper stickers and whatnot. Michelle, what were you going to say?
I think that it's great that people really held in and waited for the weather. The sun's coming out again on Lincoln Street. We have another group coming towards us. I can't quite read their banner. Some sort of marching band from Springfield.
Springfield, right. The Kilty Band, I guess it is. And we're going to go down and try and give you a little bit of a sound as to what this band is all about. They're wearing the kilts, and that'll give you an idea of what kind of music they're playing as they approach us. Established way back in 1917, and it's a younger group, and they're wearing the customary Scottish plaid.
Quite a large group. Many instruments, many people. Getting a good response from the crowd down here.
Oh, yeah, very good response. Here they come now. We're going to try and give you a little bit of idea of how the music sounds as we step out of the way before they stampede us.
I think that it's also great that a lot of the groups have been down here since, did they say 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock this morning, and here are the bagpipes. A little bit more melodic than the fire engines, I would imagine. And I would gesture to say these are some of the nicest legs I've seen in the parade with so far, Michelle.
Yes, quite so.
I did leave my kilt at home, but there's no doubt next year that I will be in full kilt, so to speak. And coming towards us now is another American veterans group. We'll pass by us, and not only we have male veterans, there's female veterans as well. And Michelle, pretty large group here.
Very large group. I think that it's actually 3 separate groups. We have the American vets of Korea and Vietnam, followed by their women's auxiliary group, I believe that is. And behind them, a group specifically from Worcester, also American vets of Korea and Vietnam.
American veterans of Worcester. And that's a smaller group, but it is well decorated. They're in the battle fatigues as opposed to the...
That's right.
But I guess that is apropos to the war.
Sorry about that. Another group coming up, looks like the Air Force. They have a miniature plane that I believe gentlemen told me they use for recruiting purposes. It's actually running under its own power, not flying, but driving.
Not flying. That would be interesting. It is a small version of an F-14, I believe.
That's right, that's right.
And right before that, we've got the Washboard Sioux and Vets Auxiliary Post 208. That was right, that's in Hudson, if I believe. And Washboard Sioux is on the back of her washboard right now. Let's see if we can talk to Washboard Sioux, if we can. We're walking over towards the truck now. Are you Washboard Sioux?
Yes.
What are you going to play for us today?
Well, I'm trying to play what I can.
What you can?
I hope everybody helps me.
Oh, let's hear it. She's warming up on the kazoo and horns and washboard, ladies and gentlemen. It's about as exciting as it sounds down here. Let's send it back to Scott.
All right, you can hear the fire engines wailing as the parade continues. The Northborough Fire Department is passing in front of us now. We've had half a dozen fire engines from Marlborough, from Hudson, Southborough, Hopedale, Shrewsbury, Berlin, Danvers, Framingham, Stowe, Canton, and Revere that have gone by so far. And a couple of Northborough fire vehicles are passing before our reviewing stand now. And next will come a old fire engine from the Saxonville. So quite a few communities are represented. Here's another one from Framingham that's following up. There must be about 30 or more fire vehicles and emergency vehicles in this parade. The Maynard Fire Department has a very impressive ladder truck that is now passing in front of us. And then the Acton Fire Department. Now, let's go back to Kay Sean.
Okay, Dick, thank you very much. Passing before us right now is the North End Italian Band. And they're playing a lovely tune for us right now. And coming up, we've got the Hospitalized Veterans Division chapter in Marlborough here. And let's ask this young lady. Hello, ma'am. Are you enjoying the parade this year?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Very nice. What did you think of the fire engine?
Oh, I never saw such nice ones.
What about the weather?
Oh, I'm glad it turned out like this. I felt bad for him when the way it was turned out.
I didn't think it was going to turn out this way, did you?
Oh, no, I didn't either.
So far, so good. How long have you been coming to the parade?
Yeah, I'm glad it's going to be good for all the amusements down the other end and, you know, the whole bit.
Have you been to the festival down there yet?
Yes, I went Saturday.
What about I was going to say, how long have you been coming to the parade?
Oh, every year I come. I just live down the street here.
Excellent. So, how's it look so far? How does it match up so far?
I think it's bigger than usual.
It is. It looks like it is. I mean, it's like...
There's a lot more fire trucks from everywhere. I mean, we've had a lot of fire trucks before, but I think we've had more this year than any. Yeah.
Fantastic. There you go. That just shows you how many fire engines that Scott and Mike and Dick are finding out right now down at their end of the route, as they're still unable to communicate really with us. And Michelle, what has gone by since I've been going back and forth here?
Well, the Hospitalized Veterans Group took up a collection. Actually, I think people were pretty happy to give. They're collecting money for veterans of all wars that are hospitalized, still hospitalized, or in need of constant medical care. Coming past us right now, we have the post office. We have the U.S. mail trucks, 3 trucks bearing their flag. Of course, there's always somebody campaigning in a parade. We have several campaign banners, and the Cub Scouts bringing up a huge hay truck.
Here it comes. It's a Pack 41 and a Pack Indeed. And we've also got a tiny little mail truck. It's very cute. I'm sure you'll see it on your Channel 30 there, or you'll see it down where Scott and Mike, or I should say Dick and Mike are. It's a miniature version of a mail truck, and we've got a young man in there driving a little lawnmower-powered engine. And here come the Boy Scouts, Michelle.
The Boy Scouts are giving out candy, posters proclaiming all their different groups. We've got quite a few troopers, some young guys. They look about 7 or 8 years old. They're Scoutmasters. Let's see, we've got the Bear Den, and we've got the Cub Den.
Cubs and the Weblos.
And they're all giving out candy to the other children on the side.
And they're toasting marshmallows, sort of, in the back, which is very interesting. And we've got the Northborough Explorers, which is another division, I believe, of the Boy Scouts.
No, actually, Explorers are police affiliates. They work with police departments. It's usually children and young adults that get involved in police activities, crime prevention activities, work with police. Northborough has a group.
Fantastic. You learn something new every day.
That's right.
I know another radio station says that, but you really do learn something new every day on WSRO. And there go the sirens again. We're very happy to hear those start up once again. And we've got the JFK banner coming our way. Any idea what that's about?
That is a group that is trying to get JFK's birthday, that's John Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, assassinated president's birthday, a national holiday.
Now, wasn't there some bickering going back and forth whether or not to make the day of his assassination or the day of his birthday a holiday? What was that all about?
Well, the committee had divided at one point. Half wanted the assassination date and half wanted his birthday, and actually neither has gotten through. There's a committee working now, working all the time. Nobody's succeeded as of yet.
And you can see the response to the banner as it goes by.
I think people are
very vocal.
People are also looking for another day off.
Another day off? Why not? I mean, there's not enough in this calendar year, are there? And as in the spirit of Labor Day, we've got 20% of the people that actually go out to work on Labor Day. And we're going to pass out some balloons. Here you guys go. Some balloons. There you go. You enjoying the parade? How's the parade going?
Good.
Yeah? What's your name?
Eric.
How long have you been coming to the parade, Eric? It's your first year here, or you've been here before? Couple of years?
4.
Have you? How about you? What do you got there? Yeah, you go to school, you got some candy there?
Yeah.
Would you like a balloon?
Yeah.
There you go.
The children are just having a great time today. A lot of groups giving out candy, a lot of groups, colorful floats, colorful events. Really geared up for the children as well as the older residents of the community.
Is this another little campaigning going on? Who's this?
This is more campaigning. I don't think that we need to mention each and every...
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to mention them. We're just going to kind of nonchalantly mention that there is some campaigning going on. And what if we get here behind them? Well, hey, it looks like someone named Bradley is campaigning. We've got popcorn right in front of us. And we're going to try and send it back to Mike and Dick. How are you guys down there?
Well, thank you very much, Keyshawn. Well, this Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by C.E. Connery Insurance Agency. If your auto or homeowner's policy is ready for a review, call C.E. Connery Insurance today at 485-3150 or visit Main Street in Marlboro.
Seems awfully quiet here after the fire engines have gone by.
My eardrums have now receded back into my head. It is really loud, and each year, doesn't it seem as though they add one more piece of apparatus?
They had about 30, I counted about 34 pieces of apparatus in the parade this year. And the one I think that came from the furthest distance was Bourne. That's not official, but my
Bourne
down
further than it's further than Danvers, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yeah.
well,
I'm sure it is.
Well, then that was my only question as to where exactly it was located. Yeah, that probably is.
Danvers is a North Shore. Bourne is south, of course, down by the Cape Cod Canal. But it's going to be tough to pick the winner there, but...
well, we know it isn't Hudson, so, you know, they can pretty much write
Marlboro.
themselves off of the great radio.
Did you notice in Marlboro, when the first fire engine from Marlboro went by, there was a big sign on the side said, "Thanks for Jerry's Kids." Of course, they had a great celebration here the other day.
Right, officially $15,575 was raised. They raised $14,200 last year during the Muscular Dystrophy Association drive, and $15,000 was the goal this year. They were $575 over that goal, so good going for the gentlemen at the Marlboro Fire Department who did a tremendous job last Thursday in raising money at their toll road at the corners of Main and Bolton Street. Unofficially, I hear that Hudson raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000 themselves. Now, there is a presentation of that check which will take place, I believe, on Channel 5 today by members of the Marlboro Fire Department. And that will be a little bit after 3 o'clock this afternoon when that check for $15,500 and change will be presented to the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Well, this is one way that the Marlboro Fire Department is able to thank the people of this area in the parade by making note of their appreciation.
That's exactly right, Dick. And boy, they did a heck of a job. 90% of the people that work for the fire department were present for that toll road, whether they were assigned to duty that day or not. They came in, volunteered their time, and stood out in the intersection and collected money. So it was a tremendous job. We were very glad to be a part of it. We were able to go down there and broadcast live from the fire department last Thursday, and what a great time, what great hosts they were. And I think I would like to say congratulations from WSRO to the Marlboro Fire Department.
Well, the first of the divisions is now history, and of course there are 4 divisions altogether in this Labor Day parade, and we're awaiting division number 2, which will be led by the Marlboro Police Department. The police did have a few vehicles that sort of paved the way for the fire apparatus, but officially the police will be marching to lead division number 2, which should be headed down Main Street very, very shortly. It looks like we can see a little activity up there.
Rather wisely, they decided to separate themselves, if nothing to get away from the sirens. They put a little bit of distance between Divisions 1 and Divisions 2. Now, for the remainder of the parade, the divisions do stay very, very close together. This Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by the Chicken Connection, opening soon at 25 Boston Post Road, Route 20 in Marlboro, next to Knobscott Cleaners. The Chicken Connection. Take home a ready roaster for takeout.
All right. So things are on a bit of a lull right here in front of City Hall. People are anticipating division number 2 to be moving along shortly. Let's see what's happening at the location where Michelle and Kay Sean are located.
We may actually even have a news story here because the parade route has been sidelined for an emergency fire truck to go up the left side of the parade. And what was the float that just passed us before that?
That was the local 475 union, Carpenters Union. They've actually, they've got quite a big group. Looks like at least 150 people, marchers, driving, floats. They've built a house, I understand, a children's playhouse. All proceeds will be benefiting the Young Victims Fund. That's missing children.
That's right, and the house just was on top of the float as it passed by us. And very interesting, though, a fire truck actually had to be escorted through the parade route. That'll be interesting to see what turns out with that. We'll try and get to the latest on what happened with that.
We'll be checking that later, of course. Coming up now, more local Union 475.
And coming up, something that Mike would enjoy very well. We've got Marlboro Theatrical Technology there coming up right now. And a lot of clowns and other assorted people are in this. We'll try and talk to some of them and see what they're all about. And they're located in Marlboro. We've got just about every costume outfit in the history of theatrical makeup within this float. And I'm knocking Michelle off the parade route with a hip check, which is mandatory. As you can tell, we're nearest to the route now. A little bit of a musical going on as well, and they're passing out some candy and some popcorn.
Quite a few young performers in this group. Looks like dancers and clowns and ballerinas and
pink elephants. Plenty of pink elephants in here as well.
And another vendor trying to capitalize on a float coming by us.
As we get hammered by some balloons as they go right by us. And some clowns. And they don't want to talk. They just want to run away from us as they throw popcorn in our face. But that's okay. And they've got the ringer here, which is broadcasting some song. I can't understand it, can you?
It's Barnum. It's the theme from Barnum.
Oh, well, there you go.
Quite appropriate for performers.
And here comes another fire truck. This is becoming very interesting as we block people's view. We'll move out of the way here. Another fire truck is being routed right through the parade, perhaps some emergency situation. And they're going down Gibbon Street.
At City Hall, apparently they were there to apprehend Kayshawn Patrick and Michelle Breyer because they went off the air right now. We will take it over here from City Hall. Dick, I can't emphasize enough what a gorgeous day. There seem to be more people packed along this route this year than there have been in recent years. And one of the big things, drawing cards for today's parade, is the return of the Broomall String Band. They are the Mummers.
Right. And I think whenever they appear, they're just a delight to see. And it's a very exciting part of this parade. And I know we are anticipating the Mummers as well as the many who have lined the streets and the route of this annual Labor Day parade in Marlborough. So that'll be coming along shortly. There seems to be no sign yet of Division 2. Let's get the fire engines get a good head start on all the other groups because they are pretty noisy. But the other group will be led, as we said earlier, by the Marlborough Police Department, and many of the city dignitaries will also be in Division number 2, and we'll have a marching band come in right after the Marlborough Police Department, so we'll be able to get our first bit of music in this parade. We have a good number of bands, of course, today, floats, and it's just a delight to watch. And I know the folks along Main Street in front of City Hall are anticipating a pretty exciting time for the next hour or so.
In years past, we've had a tremendous amount of political candidates on the route on this day. However, this year, since there's not much political local going on, as far as elections are concerned, there are a number of local dignitaries, most prominently from Marlborough, but no. Governor Dukakis, I believe, was in this parade a couple of years ago, if not last year, when he was still governor of Massachusetts. He still is, but he is now, as everyone knows, the Democratic candidate for the presidency. Don't expect to see him this year. I understand he's in either Detroit, St. Louis, or possibly Philadelphia right now.
Parts unknown. As far as Marlborough is concerned, our concern right now with the candidates, the national candidates elsewhere, there will be enough of the local political and statewide candidates, this being an election year, so we will not be without the political candidates this year. Labor Day is always a good day for many of the candidates to really kick off their campaigns in earnest, so expect to see them smiling and waving and hoping to encourage people to vote along the way, candidates of both parties for various state offices.
And those candidates, a number of them, 6 city councilors, and I believe Mayor Chester E. Connery will be down at the festival marketplace later in the day for the frog jumping contest. I guess they fit into the celebrity division, and they have frogs either supplied or that they were able to find.
I thought they were going to try to outjump the frogs.
No, apparently they are going to have some sort of a frog jumping contest that they, as an individual group of 7, I believe at the minimum, will be taking place over at the festival marketplace. That should be interesting. I know that Bob King, one of the organizers of Festival 88, asked me to, I think it was Friday evening, if I would come down and call the action. I told him I wasn't able to handle fast action like horse races all that well. However, he did remind me that these were frogs and they don't move at lightning quick pace.
Well, that should prove most interesting, and it'll be part of the festivities that will take place today. The festival, of course, the grounds are open at Ward Park, and after you've viewed the parade, many of our listeners and viewers to Channel 30 will be making a trek down to Ward Park to take in the marketplace. And today should be a banner day there. We had quite a number of people out yesterday, even during the drizzle and the showers. Many of you who wanted to go yesterday but stayed back, well, today will be an excellent day because there's going to be so much more activity on the schedule.
And great radio will be there. I, Mike Lorenz, will be down there along with WSRO's John Facito between 3 and 6 this afternoon, so come by and say hi to me. This Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by your friends at the Cozy Cafe of Marlborough, the Cozy Cafe where people just like to meet and socialize at 487 Lincoln Street in Marlborough. And I'm wondering if Keishon Patrick and Michelle Breyer have been able to...
Well, we were at two back on the air, Mike. We lost you for a minute. We were trying to cover somewhat of a side story on the parade route. We saw 3, were they Marlboro fire trucks?
They were Marlboro fire trucks. They looked like they were heading somewhere with a purpose.
It was an emergency, and then they took a turn down a side street, moved a lot of parade people out of the way, and started bombing down the side street. And it seems only to get a good spot in the front of the parade, so that was kind of interesting.
Well, won't say that until we know for sure.
That is unfounded. That is alleged. All the words that you have to say when you're not sure of what actually happened. But right now, we took a skip over to the next street as we head towards City Hall to meet up with you guys. And we got to see the North End Band once again. The tail end of the parade had already passed us. And coming towards us now, we have the Jimmy Fund City Softball Champions from 1988 heading our way. And we are still awaiting some more of the clowns and other features that are in the parade.
That's right. Maybe we can actually talk with some more people on this beautiful afternoon.
Well, let's see, Michelle. You point one out, and we'll move towards it. Okay, let's move over here and talk to these guys. How you doing today?
Hi, how you doing?
Enjoying the parade?
Yep.
How many times have you been out to this parade?
Oh, years.
What did you think of the fire engines this year?
They were okay.
They were okay. The same as every year? I thought there were about maybe 40 or so fire engines this year. I guess that's around 20 more than there's ever been out here. And I know through my ears, I was able to tell the difference. And we're going to move down the parade route here, as we have many people taking video cameras. And as I mentioned before, and as Mike has been mentioning, this is also simulcast on Channel 30. And so as we describe the action as best as we can, we hope that you can watch it on TV as well. And Michelle, are you going to be coming down to Ward Park with us today?
Yes, I am. Maybe we can do a live report from, let's say, a Ferris wheel.
Not the Ferris wheel. That sounds good. Live report from the Ferris wheel, maybe from the dunking booth.
I'd like to see you in the dunking booth.
Well, you know, there was a rumor going around that our own Jerry Russell was going to be in the dunking booth, and the new phrase here at WSRO will be, where was Jerry?
I think that instead of our own Jerry Russell, I believe the police chief is going to be dunked from 4
That's correct, yeah.
From 4 o'clock on. So if you hurry down to Ward Park in the dunking booth, the marketplace is open from noon until 9 tonight. You might get a shot.
Give a traffic ticket dispute or whatever, you can settle it with a softball and a plunge, I suppose. And going by us again, the Boy Scouts, and a big hand for the Boy Scouts as they pass us by. And the Jack Kennedy banner once again getting great applause. And we'll send it back to Mike and Dick and see what they're doing down that end. How's it going down there, Mike?
Very well. I think the last thing that Jerry Russell said as he was heading out the door Friday afternoon was, in your dreams, or something like that.
That would be worth the price of admission, wouldn't it, if Jerry would do that? You could perhaps hear the band in the background. The Community of Jesus Marching Band is the first band in the parade. And I think, Mike, if we can sort of pick up the music to change the pace here. Let's see if we can hear this band. Very smart-looking outfit.
They really are, Dick. You know, sometimes you really get excited about seeing some of these bands. It really gets the old adrenaline flowing in you. We're only a few weeks now away from the start of football season, where some of the best bands in central Massachusetts do participate in that Midland League. Midland League realigned this year to include Fitchburg.
Right behind the band comes Mayor Chet Connery, and he's spending more time on the sidelines, shaking hands and maybe even kissing the ladies. But he's coming now hand in hand with Mrs. Connery and waving to the crowds as they come by, and the members of the city council are right behind the mayor.
Let's see if we can pick out some of the city councilors along the route. Mike McGordy. Mike Hogan is out there, along with Marilyn Perry. Debbie Lawrence from the school committee is out there. City Council President Ray LaValle is out there. And I would assume that Jerry Spare is Jerry Spratt in his leprechaun costume. You know that he wears that. He wears that on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, also. And he's always quite the dapper one in that outfit. We are broadcasting live on WSRO Great Radio, as well as Marlboro Cable Channel 30 WMCT.
The band is before us and has halted and is now putting on a musical presentation for those of us in front of City Hall. It's the Community of Jesus Marching Band.
Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by Don's Flying Service of Marlboro. Stop by the Marlboro Airport and ask about Don's Discovery Flight. Don's Flying Service, Farm Road in Marlboro. This might be an opportunity to mention some of the other activities that are going on down at the marketplace today. Among some of the shows that will be in the Anna Walker tent.
There are two active tents there, the Massachusetts tent and the Walker tent, as well as the activities in the exhibition area. What do we have coming up early?
Well, there's a great little production of the Apple Tree that folks can see. That is a great little musical that was written by the same musical partnership that wrote the musical Fiddler on the Roof. And great little cast, Diana Callio and Matt Cederholm, Mike Harpin, Lila Rookie and Ernie Rookie among some of the more prominent performers in the area. Most of the performers that are involved in Festival 88 are local performers. The festival committee this year has decided to go back to homegrown talent, and they've done a tremendous job at luring some of the best performers in the region.
While the band is playing, there are 6 majorettes who have flags that they're waving, very colorful flags, and they have been dancing, going through some precision routines that are really a delight. This is the type of professional exhibitions you might see at halftime at some of the NFL football games. These people are well trained and are putting on an excellent presentation for the people in downtown Worcester.
Once again, for those of you who are just joining us, this is the Community of Jesus band that is right in front of us, getting a very nice round of applause.
Nice round of applause from the crowd here, well appreciating what they have been done. They're well trained, and now we'll be marching on, and the parade will continue. I see we have a few special motor vehicles. Washington Street has one, Washington Street Motors. It's an antique car that will be following the delegation of city officials that come right after this Society of Jesus band. And this is a good start to the parade, and this is an indication this is going to be a real fine one. We'll wave to the mayor as he waves up to this balcony here, and the parade moves on.
You're listening to this simulcast on Great Radio WSRO, as well as Marlboro Cable, Channel 30. And the City Council, as well as some of the members of the school committee, are now walking by our reviewing stand right here in front of City Hall. And that is Jerry Spratt,
bringing up the rear
with his shillelagh in hand at the very end of the pack.
Following the antique vehicle, we have a delegation of state police vehicles that are moving along, as the Division 2 is now well underway.
Dick, this car that is coming past us right down here, have you ever ridden in a car with a rumble seat? Have you ever?
Yes, I have. See, I go back.
Yes, I've never ridden in a car with a rumble seat. I know that when I was in high school, I was strapped to the roof a couple of times, but that was the closest I had ever come to it. I've never even ridden in a convertible, but actually I have, I'm lying to you.
But yeah, that does date a few people when you get a car with a rumble seat as such, but it's a lot of fun. I went from Greenfield, Massachusetts to a Boston Red Sox game and back in a car.
Better you than me.
To view the Red Sox. The first Red Sox game I saw, I went in a car with a rumble seat. Now a delegation from the Marlboro Veterans of Foreign Wars, the color guard, post number 638, passing in front of us.
Sergeant John P. Colery, post, with their POW flag.
The Grand Marshal is Maurice Collins, the past director of the Veterans Affairs of the city of Marlboro. He is riding in an automobile and greeting the folks. another band is coming along, the Canton American Legion Band from Canton. Preceding that, we see Laurie Stearns, who was the member of the Boston College Majorettes, and she is leading this delegation, and she is putting on quite a demonstration with her baton and marching along, I might say, very smartly, too, as she now approaches the front of City Hall. That is Laurie Stern. She's from Marlborough and is a member of the BC Majorettes, which should please Scott Sands, being an alumni of that institution, wearing the colors of BC. And you'll probably see her at the next Boston College football game on the field. The next one that they win.
Passing in front of us right now is the official pace car for the 72nd Indianapolis 500. It was held earlier this year. That is a Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and if you have ever seen a Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, I had the opportunity to be down at Washington Street Motors earlier this year. That is a gorgeous car.
This is the American Legion, and from Gloucester, Massachusetts. Actually, the band is from Canton, but they are followed by a delegation from American Legion Post 3 of Gloucester. That's the Post 3 Color Guard. So the American Legion is well represented here in Division number 2. And that will be followed by more members of the American Legion from Sutton, the Gendron Post 414 Color Guard. They have been in the parade in years gone by and have returned to Marlborough. Many of these groups and bands come year after year. They really look forward to this parade as one of their premier marching attempts of the year.
Well, this is one of the biggest Labor Day parades in New England, not only in Massachusetts, but just about one of the biggest ones in New England.
Without a doubt, it is the biggest in Massachusetts and perhaps in New England, and also one of the largest parades that's held annually in the state. There are some huge parades, of course, on special events and bicentennials and of that nature. But for a regularly scheduled parade each year, there are few that will top this. Coming down the street behind some of the American Legion groups is Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam is also a fixture in this parade. He is Gary Pugh, and he's on stilts, and he has been in this parade for umpteen years now, delighting the youngsters, waving, and he just has a ball. He's from Hudson, and Gary is being greeted by many of the youngsters. Tall man on stilts, Gary Pugh. And
the interesting thing about this, Dick, is those pants are not tearaway. If he falls the full extent. He's got to be, I would think, what, 6.5, 7 feet up there in the air before you get to the actual Gary Pugh. So
there he is.
That's a nasty little fall if he were to go, but I understand he does these kind of functions all the time, and he's very good at this.
Yes, he's been in this parade each year, and you might see him at some of the other attractions, too. He wouldn't miss it, and he would be missed by the people along the way if he should not be able to make one of these parades.
Well, he's rarely missed if he is in the parade, because he is very conspicuous in his presence.
We have a very colorful band coming along now. It's the, I believe, the Colonial Boys Norwood Pipe and Drum. It's more of a kilty band, actually, that is passing before us at this time. A little Scottish music, if you will.
The annual Labor Day Parade here in Marlborough is brought to you in part by LB Shoe. This Festival 88 report is brought to you by LB Shoe, 25 South Street in Hudson. For all your back-to-school footwear needs, visit LB Shoe in Hudson. You're listening to this simulcast on Great Radio WSRO and Marlborough Cable Channel 30.
That's the Springfield Kilty Band, by the way. Before we get back to some of the activities before City Hall, we wonder what's happening along the rest of the route. Let's have a word now from Kay, Sean, and Michelle.
Thanks very much, Dick and Mike. We're here on West Main Street now with the rest of the parade. We have a very colorful group before us. They're actually Indian chiefs. We tried tried to speak with them, but they were on the warpath. We couldn't stop them. Keishon, what do you suppose this group coming up is, the youngsters?
It looks like the cheerleaders of some sort, and I'm going to bend over and try and see the Junior Panthers.
They're quite good, aren't they?
Well, they're young. I say they're about 14, between 10 years old and 14 years old. And they certainly know their stuff. And we've got a band in front of us now about to begin, and let's see if we can get them. There they go.
They're terrific. These youngsters, about 50 youngsters, marching band, cheerleaders, they're really together. We're going to try to speak with some of them as we walk along with the Labor Day Parade on West Main Street.
And we're going to try and get in the route right now, along with the Junior Panthers. I'm going to brush up a few of my chairs, Michelle. I don't know about you, but
I don't think you're dressed appropriately.
I'm going to blow up a few balloons and do the pom-pom thing.
They're quite good. We have, let's see, it's the
Vivid orange and black. It's from Marlboro, obviously.
Merrimack Valley League.
Merrimack Valley League A and B Division champions. Excellent. And we're going to get right in with them.
This group is starting up again. We have the band in sync with the cheerleaders. They have, they're actually being led by more youngsters. No adults in this delegation. No adults at all. The kids are just on their own. We're going to see if we can give you a cheer down there. Mike, this one's for you.
I did not understand one word. That is the one thing that I have a problem when I go to high school football games, and all I hear is, we have an Air Force jet grounded coming by our reviewing stand right in front of a very small miniature.
F-16.
Aha.
A model.
So that's what an F-16 is. I had always thought they were bigger.
Well, I think if we put that one into combat, we would be in trouble.
Yeah. Sitting duck. The Tin Can Sailors, Massachusetts Division U.S. Navy Marching Band is approaching us right now.
And that's followed by the North End Italian Band from Boston. And momentarily, they're at parade rest. And of course, they've been marching along for quite a while here. We're still in Division number 2, and there are 4 divisions of this Labor Day parade. First division, of course, was strictly the fire apparatus and other emergency vehicles. Division 2 has been a very exciting one so far, and many of the units have been receiving tremendous applause from the crowds who have been lining Main Street in Marlboro.
As you listen on Great Radio WSRO, as well as viewing this parade on Marlboro Cable Channel 30, we'd like to remind you that the Festival 88 report is brought to you by Entenmann's Discovery Bakery, or Discount Bakery, that will be opening September 8th in Marlboro Square, Route 20 in Marlboro. Entenmann's has been a leader in bakery products since 1898, and they bring you this Festival 88 report in part. The North End, Dick, I think it's my favorite area of Boston.
Is it the food?
I think it is just the ambiance. I am not Italian. However, everybody, you know, like they say, everyone is a little Irish on St. Patrick's Day. The minute you walk into the North End of Boston, you kind of feel Italian. I mean, it's just great. It's like walking on the back lot of a movie.
Well, I think if you bring visitors in from outside and you want to show them Boston, you certainly ought to take them into the North End and see a little bit of Americana as we know it. Now let's listen a little bit to the North End Italian Band from Boston.
mentioned the word Americana. That is exactly what this parade is. It is a true slice of Americana. Growing up in Southern California, I did not witness anything like this until 1982 when I moved back here. And I think this is such a fitting end to summer. This is the last formal weekend of summer, and now we simply sit back and wait for the leaves to begin changing. And I think this is a great wind-up to summer, and what an ideal day weather-wise.
A group of disabled veterans from the Marlboro DAV Chapter 82 and our auxiliary have just passed before our reviewing stand in front of City Hall. As our parade continues, I wonder what's happening along the route with Michelle and Kay Sean. Come in.
Here, right now, and I've got a young lady right here. She's going to play one of the finest musical instruments being sold here at the parade. Are you ready now? First of all, what's your name?
Allison.
Okay, Allison, you've got a very expensive musical instrument here. Have you taken lessons on this now?
No.
This just comes naturally? You can do this without formal lessons? Okay, you ready to play for me? All right, this is the noise that represents Sesame. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, there you go. All right.
Well, let me just say, Kevin, you certainly know how to pick out the fine musicians in the crowd. I don't know what that instrument was, but it sounded like you were strangling some sort of small animal.
Actually, it's one of the most popular instruments, unfortunately, being sold down at the marketplace, and I'm going to challenge anyone down there today to find a more obnoxious sound.
Well, my four-year-old daughter is somewhere along this parade route, and why do I have the feeling that when I get home this evening, she's going to have one exactly like that? And for all I know,
I am sure.
You may have just spoken to her a few moments ago.
A future musician, Mike, something to be proud of. But as we go along now, we have some of the classic cars passing us. They'll be heading your way in just a few minutes. And the Junior Panther cheerleaders that just passed us, well, right behind them were the Junior Panthers, the Pop Warner football team. And we're going to pass it back to you momentarily, and then we're going to get more into the route and talk to some more people along the way. And we'll be right back. So back to you, Dick and Mike, just for a moment.
We have the Eagle from the United States Post Office right down in front of us. The Eagle and a number of post office vehicles.
3 full-size vehicles and 1 little miniature that is drawing the oohs and ahs from the crowd.
All I need are some dogs.
And political candidate follows that, and then we see Pack 41 of the Cub Scouts on a huge flatbed truck loaded with Cub Scouts. Those little guys just don't have to march. They're getting a free ride.
Matt Donahue from the Middlesex County Commission. He's one of our Middlesex County Commissioners. Matt Donahue is, I would assume he's the gentleman down here in the charcoal gray suit and the red power tie.
I would assume that he is, and quite a few Cub Scouts and the Cub Scout leaders on this long flatbed truck that has got the pack number 41 from Marlboro. And how many would you say on there? Must be about 30 Cub Scouts, would you say?
I would say there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 to 3,000 there, Dick, on that flatbed truck.
It would seem, huh?
It would certainly seem.
This would be a float because in it's depicted some of the badges that these Cub Scouts are working for and some of the work they're doing. There's a miniature tent, and there's also, I see the little car races that they have, of course. There's a track set up for that and a few other of the activities that the Cub Scouts do. So that is their bit.
And Dick, with me right now I have Mary Ellen Duplessis, and she is a major stockholder in WSRO after all the prizes she's won with us. And what do you think of the parade so far?
Great parade. It's always a good parade. We were a little nervous about the weather, but as usual, it's turned out perfect.
It's amazing. It's kind of clear. It's about 11:30. The rain was coming down all night, and I really thought it was going to be a washout, but have you been down to the marketplace yet?
No, not yet. We plan to go down this afternoon.
You should go down there this afternoon. We're going to see what we can get at the dunking booth. They have a dunking booth, and Joe Barry's going to be there around 4 o'clock. So that's interesting. Nice seeing you, and we're going to keep moving along. Yay, as we pass out some balloons right now. We have a rather loud band passing by us, and the Royal Knights, Michelle. And, can you hear me, Michelle? Nobody can hear us.
I'm sitting right in front of you, and I can barely hear you. We have a group in front of us I can't quite make out. I believe they're the Royal
Marcus, because they're doing a really good job of knocking us off the parade route every now and then, although they are having their vision blocked by large inflatable objects. But we're going to send it back down to you guys because we're heading your way. So take it away, Mike and Dick.
Thank you, Keishon. We will, we see you. We'll be able to recognize you. You're the ones with the tire marks up your back.
Yeah. Another political candidate to register for Dietz Bradley has got several vehicles in the race and a few marching people. And this is pretty much with the Marlboro Knights of Columbus display will bring the Division number 2 to its conclusion.
We have a car on a small trailer down here from Majestic Enterprises. Sold, but we have more just like it. Rather tarnished. I don't know exactly what, maybe they are...
Looks like it was in the last stock car race.
It is for sale. Doesn't look like it was the winner, though. The Royal Columbian Drum Car.
This is the beginning of Division 3.
And I don't even know where this group behind them is from, but I would be willing to bet they are Knights of Columbus.
This band is from Fairview.
Distinctive look of the Knights of Columbus down in front of us.
Following the KFC contingent, we have a very large delegation from the Carpenters local number 475. They're from Ashland, and they have a color guard and marching contingent that numbers looks like about 40 to 50 people.
Now this is the unit that has the dollhouse that is displayed in the marketplace right at Ward Park every year. And they take up some charitable cause, sell chances to win that dollhouse. And each year the dollhouse is very, very pretty. And this year they are back again. Some of the slogans, for those of you who may not be able to be seeing this as a simulcast on WSRO Great Radio as well as Marlboro Cable Channel 30. Some of the placards they're carrying, I'm Union, and expletive deleted, proud of it. I love carpenters, and I'm proud to be a union carpenter.
They're a very active part of this parade, and they do have several floats, which will soon come before us here. And of course, as Mike said, you'll be able to see some of their activity, of course, down at the festival grounds. This is Division 3, the very beginning of Division 3 of this 4-division parade. There will be quite a bit of exciting things ahead. We're looking forward to the contingent from the Mummers. Always a delight. They've been absent from the Marlboro Labor Day Parade for several years, but those who have come to some of the previous ones know just how great this particular group is.
They have been absent for a few years, but we tracked them down, Dick, and forced them to come back. No, actually, they're one of the most sought-after groups every year, and other commitments have forced them away from this parade in the past, but thank goodness they are back, and they are certainly a delight along the parade route.
We promised them the sun would shine, so they came. Yesterday we had our doubts.
This Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by Falcone Brothers, 29 Boston Post Road in Boston Road, rather, in Southborough. Falcone Brothers have provided the area with over 50 years of dependable oil heat service. Call 485-0377. That's 485-0377 as the Carpenters move past us. For those of you just joining us, this is Division 3 of the Labor Day Parade here in downtown Marlboro. Just one of the many activities of Festival 88, and you're listening on Great Radio WSRO as well as the simulcast on Marlboro Cable Channel 30 for those of you who have cable in Marlboro.
All right, the parade continues as the Carpenters float now passes before us, and a lot of the members of the Carpenters Union that were not marching are situated on this float, and that would encompass perhaps another 24, 25 people. So this is what the Carpenters are presenting as their first float. And Mike, this is followed by still another contingent of marchers with a sign that says, keep our quality of life. Vote. Well, it's a political position that they are taking on one of the questions on the ballot this year. And of course, everyone has a right to be in the parade to state your positions. Candidates find it an excellent means to kick off the fall political campaign to be appearing in this Marlboro Labor Day parade.
And let us check with Keishon Patrick and Michelle Breyer to check on their positions out there on the route. Where exactly are you located?
We're still on West Main Street. We're with the very exciting delegation from Pastimes. They have presented an antique car delegation, several cars, several beauties.
It's beautiful.
I particularly like the one with the name Michelle on the
Model
side.
T with Michelle on it right there. Beautiful, beautiful cars. And I believe there's going to be more Corvettes down there today, I believe.
That's right. There's an antique classic car show, Corvettes, today down at Ward Park. That's coming up later in the day.
After seeing all this today, I've decided I'm definitely going to spend some time down at Ward Park as we pass out some more balloons to the people around here. What else we got coming our way, Michelle?
Well, we just had another group from, I believe, the high school, Marlboro Panthers. Were they the high school?
It looked like maybe either high school or junior high cheerleaders. They did another fantastic job. And that was right after the actual football team that was there. And we're having more balloons. We're passing out balloons. And very good chat with Mary Ellen Duplessis. And we joked about her, the fact that she's won just about everything we've ever given away on the station.
That's right. That's right. Stockholder. Honorary stockholder.
A hostile takeover on the way. If there's another contest, she'll take us over.
A beautiful Studebaker. Just fabulous cars. They'll be coming down past City Hall, past where Mike and Dick are situated.
Yeah, you'll be seeing those in just about 10 minutes as we head towards your way. As we head towards the end of the route, we're going to try and interview some of the people. Maybe get Mayor Chet Connery on with us. And some other, maybe Jerry Spratt, we can talk about his choice of wardrobe today.
That's right. About 15 cars, I believe, in this group. Every kind of car imaginable. Some old delivery trucks, beautifully restored, gorgeous cars. A lot of time and effort into restoring these cars.
Speaking of bull in a china shop, here comes another carriage ready to knock us off the parade route here, Michelle.
It's become a contest with these vendors. They see us coming and they just aim for us. We're going to send them down to City Hall.
Right in front of us right now. Right in front of us now are the CNS dancers from Marlboro. And the CNS dancers are a combination of dancers from the Seal Sharon School of Dance as well as Sue Sibilia's School of Dance. And it's a combination of those two fine dance schools, and they are giving us a performance right down in front of us.
That's right. They're dancers from various age groups, from adults to the little children, and putting on a show right in front of the reviewing stand in City Hall.
Their props are supplied by Ed Thurber and Marlboro Theatrical Technology. It's a brand new company in the area. Ed has just started it, and it is to support the technical theater needs of all of the community theaters and professional theaters in the area.
Well, they paused along the parade route to put on this presentation. They've got a few props out in the street, an old car, which a number of the people among the dancers bounced through out to the street. And they're going through a routine with a musical background right now, dancing some of their wares. Of course, go ahead, Mike.
Festival 88 is brought to you in part by Gill's Family Hair Care Center, 8 Market Street in Hudson. Opening after Labor Day will be Gill's Skin Care Specialist from Elizabeth Grady's in the newly designed upstairs. Dick.
As we continue, the dancers are now continuing, some of them carrying little umbrellas. Some of the younger children have been dancing now and doing somersaults in the street in very colorful garb. And much to the delight of the people who are here, getting a little extra show as they display their wares and what they've been learning in their dancing schools. Oh, it's just one more facet of this particular parade, the Labor Day Parade in Marlboro. One of our jugglers lost one of her bouncing balls, but soon recovered. And they'll be on their way soon, and they finish this looks like about a 4 or 5 minute demonstration in front of the crowd. They're doing a little bit of leapfrogging at the present time. More political candidates are coming down the street, and of course, they'll be found in each of the 4 divisions of this Labor Day parade. You can perhaps hear the applause of this crowd appreciating the work that these youngsters are doing from the C&S dancing unit. They're performing from the show Barnum, which, by the way, you can see when you go down to the festival grounds.
That is right. Tony Award-winning musical from Broadway about 10 years ago. Jim Dale was the star.
And now they move forward and down the route as the parade does continue. We have a float coming up next.
I believe this is the Fred Velarde.
It's the School of Karate. I believe it's the Shikokai School of Karate in this particular case. And there perhaps we'll stop and do a brief demonstration of their karate as they pass our reviewing stand. Those of you who are watching it on Channel 30, of course, have an opportunity to see just what we're describing. Those of you at home, we hope you're getting the picture. One of the karate schools of the area, and as we kind of figured, we're going to have a little karate demonstration. Down he goes. All right.
I've always wondered if you had to wear the ensemble that goes with karate to be able to do all of that stuff.
May help. Get you
Well,
in the
then the other
spirit of
thing is
things.
I'm not going to take on somebody that is dressed in that garb.
No, I would be wary of them if they've been at all trained. Looks like we have those Indians I heard Kay Sean describing earlier in the day. And the contingent of red men are now approaching the reviewing stand. And these are the Improved Order of Redmen, and they are from Franklin, Massachusetts. And of course, one of the fraternal organizations represented in this year's parade. Behind them, you can perhaps hear the Satellites Drum and Bugle Corps getting ready to present a little music in front of City Hall.
Behind them, coming down the street, are the Marlboro Junior Panthers. This is a cheerleading unit that kind of feeds the larger group at the high school. They get these young ladies ready and cheering at a very young age so that by the time they get to high school, they are really very good.
And they are very good. If you follow WSRO and even Channel 30 through the year, you'll hear some of the activities that these groups are doing and how well the cheerleaders in Marlboro are performing in the various competitions that come along later in the year. And of course, at the football games, you certainly get a chance to see them. Let's find out what's happening along the route with Kay Sean and Michelle.
Well, we're still on West Main. We have the fourth quarter of the parade coming up, following the antique car display. We can't quite make out who's coming up next. It looks like a band.
I know who it is. It's going to be the Aleppo Temple and the Clowns. And they're very popular among other people here. As we head to City Hall, that's basically where we're headed right now. The corner of West Main Street, I believe it's Mechanic Street. Now, don't hold me to that. As we go by Victoria buildings here. And this particular array of cars was brought to us by Pastimes, I believe, and that's exactly where we are. Not going in Pastimes, at least not on our clock, not on the clock, but we may be heading there later on this week. And Michelle, what I wanted to mention is about Festival 88 down at the Marketplace, some of the other things that are going on today. I know the Classic Car Show, we've got the Dunking Booth, But Mike was probably commenting on some other things going on in the tent.
I believe that quite a few shows, and the Best Pizza in Town contest, which was delayed from yesterday. Mike Lorenz is probably the WSRO expert on pizza.
Oh, no.
I'm sure he won't be missing that one. The crowd, Keishon, the crowd at this point, right at the corner of Mechanics and Main, is just incredible.
A large crowd, and of course, here comes the, what I like to call the spearhead event, where we get knocked off the route once again by a float. Or not a float, but a vendor, but that's okay. We'll handle that as well. It's all part of the job, Michelle. It's a learning experience here on WSRO, and we are getting to the corner by the lights. And the pizza contest, I'm looking forward to that. It's not going to be decided by judges this year. It's going to be decided by the people.
That's right, about 200 randomly selected pizza lovers. If Mike is quick, he could probably sneak himself in there and masquerade as a man on the street.
Excellent. And what we saw go by before that was Abe Lincoln. So contrary to belief, Abe Lincoln is still alive, and I believe he lives with Elvis in a condo somewhere in Minnesota. That's still up to speculation, of course.
That's right. They sharehold with Jim Morrison.
And here they come now. Come right behind us, the last of the classic cars. Looks like another Model T from way back when. It has one of the convertible top on it. It's very nicely restored. And here they come. Here come the Aleppo Temple. Let me pronounce that correctly. Have you ever seen any of the Aleppo Temple clowns before?
No, this is all new to me. They're wonderful, aren't they?
Here they come. The noses, the funny pants. Looks kind of like my wardrobe. But that's okay.
Of course, they're the only group that is not walking in the street. They're walking on the islands in the middle of the street. They are, here comes their mascot. Is it Brad?
Excellent. If we could interview the dog, we'll try.
The dog is wearing fruit around his neck. So are several of the clowns. They're just wonderful. The children are going crazy out here, aren't they?
Fantastic. And a Rick Cerone lookalike is coming right by us with a Boston Red Sox. That's the baseball team, the Red Sox, correct. And tonight the Red Sox will be on WSRO at 7:15 against the Baltimore Orioles. And Michelle, they finally get into first place. And we all know the Red Sox are your favorite team. Oh, besides the New York Yankees, that is.
The Red Sox are in first. We'll have the game again tonight. The Clowns have taken a break. Some of them are actually on the floor. While they're recovering, we're going to send it back to Mike and Dick down at City Hall.
Thank you very much. Keishon, I suggest you stick as close as you can to Michelle because you didn't know exactly where you were. You didn't know if you were coming off of Mechanic Street onto Main or not. Stick with her.
Mike,
if you get lost, we'll never be able to explain it.
He's got a map with him. We're doing just fine, and we can always follow the Clowns. They look like they know where they're going.
Down in front of us right now, we have the Marlboro Junior Panthers, a very fine youth football organization here in the city of Marlboro. And just last year, I believe, they affiliated with the Pop Warner national tournament. So that is the Junior Panthers that just went in front of us. And here we have a classic car. Guys, it works a heck of a lot better if you'll try to turn it on. But, you know, I mean, maybe they're kind of saving gas.
That's 3 horsepower, isn't it?
Yeah, that's...
three horses pushing.
There are other ways of getting that car on the route, but...
They're trying to get it going now. Behind it, Darryl the Clown, who, by the way, is appearing down at the festival grounds and puts on some fine performances in one of the tents. So we do suggest maybe you get down and see Darryl. He'll be roaming around the grounds down there, but also puts on an occasional show in one of the tents. So that's part of the activity that will be taking place this afternoon as you continue taking in this Festival 88.
And Abe Lincoln is passing down in front of us right now, so that means that Keishon and Michelle are very close. They're very near in the vicinity to us. Abe Lincoln. And behind that, a classic car. Is that a Cadillac? Is that a Cadillac or what? I don't know. It looks like a Cadillac.
Well, it's antique of some sort, for sure.
No, that's not a Cadillac.
There are a number of classic cars in the show, and this is still another facet of the events that will take place at the park, at Ward Park. Something that has not been done before. And this is the first year that we've had a classic car display.
It's Corvettes today, Dick. Corvettes from all periods, and some classic Corvettes. Some of those from the Route 66 era. Remember, what was George Chakiris and Martin Milner, I believe.
Yeah, along Route 66.
Along Route 66. Getting their kicks on Route 66. Remember that great Nat King Cole song?
That goes back long before the TV show, of course.
Yeah.
But Route 66, famous route that winds its way across the country from the Midwest to the West Coast. And coming along is still another of our drum and bugle corps. This one comes all the way from Lee, Massachusetts. I spent a good part of my vacation up in Lee, Massachusetts in the Berkshires just several weeks ago. Lovely country up there, beautiful. And nice to have them with us in Marlborough this particular day. And the Royal Knights Drum and Bugle Corps from the Berkshires, Lee, Massachusetts, almost to the New York state line.
Is that up along the Mohawk Trail, I believe?
Well, it's the Mohawk Trail is actually Route 2 that winds up towards North Adams. Lee is about 8 or 9 miles below Pittsfield, so it's more or less in the southwestern part of the state, but right along the Mass Turnpike.
Here comes the Assabet Valley Marching Band it's one of the magnet high schools from Marlborough. It's located right off of the 290 connector.
Well, they got the cheerleaders coming by first.
Assabet Valley, which is the home of the perennial football power. Jerry Passner, haven't had an opportunity to talk to him this year, but most likely he will have another football powerhouse over there. He was supposedly in a rebuilding year last year, and
they went to the Super Bowl.
Yes, they did.
And won it. And we have a unit from the Middlesex Drug and Alcohol Awareness Unit. They're from Framingham State College. Followed by Zippy from one of the commercial institutions in the area, mailboxes. The Assabet Valley High cheerleaders. Those of you watching on Channel 30 right now can see them doing one of their routines. One of the pyramids. Oh, there's a bit of pause in the action along the route while they do their bit. 3, 6, 9, about 10 of the cheerleaders from Assabet Valley. The Marlborough High School cheerleaders are coming along in this Division 2. We're about halfway through Division number 3, and we still have Division 4, so a lot left of this parade.
I would imagine that Kay, Sean, and Michelle are in the very near proximity to City Hall. Where exactly are you located right now?
We're just coming up on City Hall, preparing to join up with you at City Hall for the rest of the Labor Day parade being broadcast live on WSRO. And just a few more comments on the parade route. Kay, Sean, you were just telling me about all the people that have turned out today. Very responsive crowd.
Yeah, we've had to greet our public, Michelle. We've dealt with it rather well. We've handled the autographs and the other comments. And Michelle is directing me over here. And what is the purpose of this, Michelle?
Well, we were just going to check in to see if there have been any problems of any sorts today. Marlborough's finest have turned out. They seem to be a little too busy to talk to us, though.
You might want to send some of Marlborough's finest down here, because I'm noticing in the crowd across the street there is a gentleman with a Boston Celtics t-shirt on, and he is standing about 10 feet behind a gentleman with a back-to-back world champion Laker t-shirt on.
That could be a bad fight.
I don't think they've spotted one another yet. But
that could be a bad fight, Mike. We need you to keep out of it, because we're not quite up yet at City Hall yet. Just coming up now with the Pastime Antique Cars. And, Keishon, I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment.
I just wanted to mention that we've been making fun of the people with the vendors going by with the shopping carriages. And I found out why we're having such a problem. They do register, and they are students of the school of the Irving Fryer / Mike Tyson School of Driving. And this this is the first time we've been able to go about 15 feet and not be knocked off. We're up by the Studebaker, and we're waving to Mike and Dick up on the perch up there. And how are things up there, Mike?
You're excellent. And you look like you're holding up fairly well. How long do you think the route is?
I'd say that we've walked about, I'd say 2 miles already, but I think that's because we've been running around in circles chasing phantom fire trucks.
That's absolutely true, but I think actually we walked the entire route. We did take one little shortcut to follow the fire truck, so we finally arrived here. And I guess we're going to keep on going down to interview some of the people as they come off.
Good idea.
So we'll do that, and we'll get back to you guys as we make our way down there.
How'd you ever get Michelle into the old cars here? Mixed in with the old cars, huh? All right, this is what's going along the route right now. Many of the old cars that are in here must be, a couple of dozen of those. And we're really getting into the old antique Model Ts coming along right now. Those of you watching on Channel 30, of course, can feast your eyes on some of these cars from the early years.
And this contingency of old cars is brought to you by Pastimes Bar and Grill. They are the sponsors of this particular unit. And while we're talking about that, this Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by Gould's, the home of distinctive clothing for men and women. Don't miss out on their final Goodbye to Summer sale going on now at 15 South Street, Hudson, and Route 2A in Acton. Final Goodbye to Summer. It's later than you think, right, Dick?
Oh, I tell you, this kind of wraps up the summer season. School opens in just a couple of days. So the
I think it opens tomorrow, by the way.
Does it?
I believe it does here in Marlboro.
All right. So the last day to celebrate, and a lot of folks will, by capping off the summer with the fireworks tonight. And you'll be able to view them. Well, they say the best vantage point is to be right down there in Ward Park. See those fireworks, and they should be going off at 9 o'clock tonight. Should be a beautiful night for the fireworks. We can't believe that the skies have cleared so beautifully today. The forecast even this morning said that skies would be mostly cloudy. We may see the sun later in the day, but fortunately the weather broke much sooner than expected, and everyone is enjoying this parade under ideal conditions.
Well, call it divine intervention or what. We are very fortunate to have this kind of weather for today, and it looks like it is going to continue throughout the day. And naturally, throughout the evening, we should be able to get off the fireworks, because sometimes if there is too low or too much of a cloud cover, that precludes being able to shoot off the fireworks. So we should be able to even have the fireworks this evening, which is always the final episode of festival each year.
Well, Mike, true that you're going to actually be commentating, or I should say sportscasting live from this Frog Festival down there?
Yes, I am.
I've got the program sheet right here. A lot of bookies are trying to get some names and numbers on these guys already. I've decided to stay to watch you do this. This should be very interesting.
Well, it'll be slow. It will be slow, but
What's steady?
Well, I got out my biology book last night. Chapter 6, I believe, is where it covers amphibians. So I'm pretty much up on just about all you need to know about frogs and frog jumping.
And as far as the pizza contest now, what's your involvement in that?
Well, Michelle, I guess, has enlisted me. I'll tell you, I'm trying to cut down on the pizza. I really am. I know which is my favorite pizza here in the city of Marlboro, but I'm not going to...
I'm not going to divulge that. Well, I know you've cut down on the pizza. I know you've cut down on the pizza, but there's someone up there that I know for a fact hasn't. And Scott Sands should be getting involved in that contest.
I'll try to keep him away.
Pizza and honey buns. That's the staple crop here at Pickering Hill. And we're going to send it back to you. We're going to try and set up right at the very end and try and interview some dignitaries, as we like to call them. And we'll send it back to you, Mike, and I'll stop interrupting your speech.
All right, sounds good.
Very colorful band before us. No uniforms. Everyone has their own thing. But they're a dancing, lively group. And it's the Tony Berry Marching Band.
Kind of looks like the Stanford Marching Band.
That's right.
University of Stanford. When did they start that, Dick? Do you remember?
No, I don't, but...
I think it was like right during the big protest movement of the mid-1960s. They said they would not wear uniforms, and to this day, it's now, well, you know, it cuts down on costs when they're wearing their own kind of freestyle band costuming, but that's the Stanford Marching Band. That is not the Stanford Marching Band, but that reminds me very much of...
Always a highlight of the Labor Day Parade is the Shriners group. The Aleppo Shriners, the Temple Clown unit, is now before us. with their various units and the clowns to delight the crowds.
This unit is from Boston, and it has to be a registered vehicle. On the back, the vanity plate says Caboose, C-A-B-U-S-E.
All right, the Aleppo Temple Shrine Clown Unit, and the Shriners are very much a part of the parade each year. Some years they have a number of units within, and we perhaps will see some more before this parade is over. But this particular outfit is followed by another one of the antique cars. This is the Richard Bertie antique car. And some more politicians who are marching in the parade, followed by several young women on horseback. Well, one is a young woman. And the horses are moving along now after a momentary pause, which means that the marching unit must be careful where they step as they follow the horses.
We are still waiting the Broomall String Band, the famous Mummers Band. I believe that, where are they coming from? Philadelphia, I believe, is where they...
Philadelphia Mummers Band, right. These horse people, by the way, the young man and woman on horseback, are from the Grafton School of Horsemanship at the Ridge Valley Stables in Grafton. The Fife and Drum Corps before us at this time is the Governor Bradstreet Fife and Drum.
Ah, yes, I remember. They are here almost every year also. Break in the action here. Why don't we send it back to Kay, Sean, and Michelle?
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. We're approaching right near the end of the route now. We have caught up with the classic cars because we've just accelerated at great speed. And right near the very end, everybody's starting to gather, and we'll try and get a few interviews with some people down there. And one of the interesting things is it's got to be the weather. I mean, it's cleared up completely. Not a cloud. Well, a few clouds in the sky, but the sun is shining bright on us, and I can tell by looking at my arms I've got the Irishman's tan already. And Michelle is naturally, you've got the good color, but it's starting to look good on you now.
We have to work on that. We have to work on that.
You're wearing the black shirt, which really keeps you cool on these hot days. But one of the interesting things, too, that I wanted to mention is I believe most of these cars that are passing by us are still going to be on display down there, or is it just going to be all the Corvettes today? I'm wondering.
Today is just Corvettes. I believe that the last 2 days they had cars from the 50s and cars from the 60s. Today it's Corvettes.
There's the second most. Let's try that one again. Do that again for me, will you? What? Do that again for me. There's the second most obnoxious sound at Festival 88 right there, Mike. There it is. Thank you. All right. Once or twice is enough, but showmanship is the main theme here at Festival. And we're heading towards the end, Mike, and the noise is starting to really build, so we're going to send it back to you for just a minute.
Well, thank you very much, Kay, Sean, and Dick. We have seen a lot of really interesting things along the route today. I think probably the most impressive to me are the antique cars. I love antique cars. Probably would never buy one, but I certainly can appreciate them.
I think a lot of the folks that come out look forward to seeing antique cars in a parade, and those who came by today certainly are delighted with what they have been able to see.
Well, the reason, you can appreciate them, Mike, is most likely because all of us are driving one. Maybe not this old, but at least in the same condition.
Well, that one that really impresses me is the one with the flames on the side. I believe in the eastern part of Los Angeles, they call that chopped and channeled mon.
We're coming to the end of the division number 3, and leading off division 4 will be the outfit that so many of us have been looking forward to, the Broomall String Band from Philadelphia. A live band is playing on a flatbed truck in front of us at the present time, and one of the banks in the area, the Bay Banks, have sponsored that particular float, featuring a live band entertaining the folks along the route. We have a couple of more motor vehicles, a couple more politicians passing in front of us at the present time, And we also have the Ramblers coming, or Rambells.
This Festival 88 report is brought to you in part by the hardworking members of Kane Perkins Corporation, the leading manufacturer of ready-mixed concrete, septic tanks, sand, and stone products and other precast products located on Main Street in Hudson.
We have what appears to be a jail cell passing before us. Wouldn't you indicate that what that might be, Michael?
I'm sorry. I had
the
my
Hoosgow, as they call it.
Yes, the jail.
Followed by a person in a tub, just to get a few chuckles along the way. Sort of a clownish part of our parade here for Labor Day in the city of Marlborough, the annual parade. And kind of wrapping up Division 3 is one more motor vehicle, which might help promote the pizza eating contest this afternoon.
I believe Spucky's is one of the contestants down there. Spucky's Pizza, free delivery. And it's a great-looking old car. But I once again can't tell you what that is. Richard, do you have any idea what that car is? You ring, we'll bring is their slogan.
All right, well, it's a late model automobile that is used to advertise their product, of course, and displayed in the parade. And, well, just a few yards down Main Street now, we can see the Broomall String Band from Philadelphia. And I'm sure you're going to find many excited people waiting to see this particular group perform, and we'll present this to you for those of you viewing the parade on Channel 30, and those of you listening on Great Radio WSRO will pick up some of that sound when they arrive.
While we are waiting for them to come by the reviewing stand here in front of City Hall in downtown Marlborough, why don't we go back to Kay-Sean Patrick and Michelle Breyer. Kay-Sean, I'm sure you're somewhere along the parade route, stripping one of the classic cars.
Exactly. We're almost at the very end of the route, and I saw a young lady here with a Statue of Liberty hat. Did you pick this up in New York?
No, I've had this for several years now. I bought it down in Rhode Island, but I'm an entertainer and play the accordion. I've been playing it at the Mission here up and down the street.
Fantastic. You should bring it down to the marketplace today. How long have you been coming? Are you a Marlborough resident?
No, I'm from Sudbury.
Sudbury, and have you been coming to this parade a long time?
Oh, I've been in it a few times, but I can't walk it anymore. I'm too old.
Well, you should do what the Boy Scouts did. We've got 9-year-olds on a nice truck. You should have hopped on there. People, they took the easy way out, huh?
Yeah.
You always walk the route.
Well, no, I used to get on a truck or a fire truck or anything, but I got here late with my friend.
Took the year off this year.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that is just about the very end of the route here, and we're going to search and try and find some more people to talk to. A lot of people are running away from us. Maybe it's the bright, great radio shirts we have on. Michelle is pointing, and what are you pointing at, Michelle?
I'm just trying to find some people to speak to here at the end of the route. We're outside the American Legion post, number 132. Quite a crowd outside. They look like they're having a good time, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, obviously. And they're at the very end, so they've already been through the route, I believe.
That's right. Let's see if we can... There's a great big crowd here. We're going to try to sneak in and speak with a few people. I'm not sure how to do this.
Well, we're going to walk right up here, Mike, and unless you have anything interesting, anything interesting going on up there right now?
Well, the Peter A. Broomall Band is very, very close to the reviewing stand here at City Hall. You're listening to Great Radio WSRO as we simulcast on Marlboro Cable Channel 30. And here comes the Broomall String Band, the Mummers Band from Philadelphia. And look at those costumes.
Aren't they colorful, huh?
For those of you who are listening over the radio, I can only say it is a veritable assault of colors. Pinks, fuchsias, magentas. Amazing.
Happy days are here again.
Let us see if we can hear this.
String Band from Philadelphia pauses in front of our viewing stand to play for the crowd, a very appreciative crowd. They receive the applause of those who are lined the route here. Again, well deserved. And it's lucky for that particular group, this is not one of those hot, humid days we had a few weeks ago, dressed as they are.
Really amazing. I'm so glad that they were able to return this year because they are a quality band. They really are. And those costumes, well, you have to see them to believe them. And their tour bus is right behind them.
We've got several more bands and marching units in this division number 4 coming along, plus other antique vehicles that are in division number 4. There's a float for Mothers Against Drunk Driving that is due along our route next. Another one of the fire engines, this one's from Danvers, is carrying a contingent of young people. What a thrill it must be for some of those young people to ride a fire engine in a parade.
Well, I think you really have to congratulate all of these benevolent organizations and the fire departments and police departments because they go around their neighborhoods. I know a number of the fire department personnel, and they scout around for grandchildren, nieces, nephews, friends, and things like that, and they ask them if they'd like to ride the truck. So it's a great honor for these kids. It's a great thrill, and they don't have to get any exercise. They can walk into.
And then their grandfather comes to visit and says, what would you like to be when you grow up? I want to be a fireman.
That's right.
So they've had that ride on the fire truck. So it builds character and it builds some hopes for the young people in the future, too. A lot of people in the street right now as we're waiting for the next unit to come along. There's a bit of a lull here in front of City Hall. And also along the route today, of course, is Keishon Patrick and Michelle Breyer. How you doing, folks?
We're doing just fine. We're at the end, the very end of the parade route, right at Route 85. We have several groups just coming up now. It seems like, what would you say, Keishon, that all the groups that have finished have disappeared. We just can't find anybody to talk to.
They're doing what I feel like doing. They probably are sitting down somewhere. The Aleppo Clown band is coming by. Oh, how's it going? And they're finished, and they're happy to be finished. They're all looking for some place to sit down. And I imagine that's what happened to most of the people that have finished here. They're looking for a place to get some food and take a break.
That's right. They can't do it in the middle of Route 85. That's still one of the only open roadways into Marlboro. They've closed off most others for the parade.
And if you are heading down to the festival later on at the marketplace, I want to remind you that Chief Joe Barry was on earlier this morning, and he was explaining some problems with the parking. Is that true?
That's right. They've just restricted parking all over the place, mostly because of the parade. That'll open up a little bit later today. You just need to follow the signs and obey the police officers' directions, and you should be all set. There's parking at City Hall, shuttle buses running up to Ward Park. You should be all set if you plan to attend the festivities later. I see Abe Lincoln walking just behind us. I thought he was in the earlier portion. I thought I heard Mike talking to him earlier today. He seems to be walking around campaigning. I thought he was already president.
Well, trying to put some excitement in the political race, I suppose. Abe has come back from the dead to bring us a little excitement, I suppose. But one of the interesting things with parking this year, I mean, last year before it wasn't too strict. This year I saw some tow trucks around, so it is a good idea to watch where you park.
I saw quite a few tow trucks. In fact, I was wondering where I parked my car. Now I'm thinking that I parked it in an illegal place and they took it away.
There's a cloud staring at us right now. We're going to try and... yes, we're on the radio. We're on WSRO. And what part of the parade were you in?
The Shriners. We're Shrine Clown.
And where did you come from?
From Wilmington.
All the way from Wilmington, from the Shriners, the Aleppo Temple. How did it feel on the legs this year?
It was fine. It's not that long a parade.
No, it's not too bad, but a lot of different people here this year. It's larger than usual.
It seems like a big parade, but you know, it's hard to tell when you're marching in it. You can't tell how many people are.
Have you marched in this parade before?
Yeah.
Is this something that you do a lot? You're in a lot of parades, or is this just an annual thing?
Almost every weekend we're out doing some
for the hospital, of course. And we were listening yesterday, speaking to someone about the Olympo Temple, somewhere up towards, is this true now, correct me if I'm wrong, towards $1 million a day is raised throughout the world?
I have no idea how much.
But this is the Shriners Burns. That's just one of the many outlets, though. Is that true?
True. We have 23 hospitals scattered all across North America.
So does this pretty much signal the end of the parade season?
No, we still have 2 or 3 more parades that I know of.
Thanksgiving, I would imagine, would be in there as well.
Well, we have one Veterans Day. We have one coming up in 2 weeks down around the Cranberry Bogs. There's a big celebration going on down there for the cranberries. And so I know of at least 2 or 3 more parades.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that information and your time. And we'll let Michelle, what do we have here going in front of us?
I haven't actually been paying attention. It looks like some sort of
fire apparatus. There's another the long line of fire apparatus passing us by, and we can pretty much send it back to you guys and tell us what's going by.
Well, we have a slight separation here in the units. This Festival 88 report is brought to you by your Golden Rule Building Supply headquarters. That would be Larkin Lumber, 136 Main Street in Hudson. The next unit that will be coming by us is the MAD unit, Mothers Against Driving Drunk, and it's a very fine organization within the area.
And they are moving along, but by far and large, most of Division 4 has lagged quite a bit behind. There's been quite a delay. It might give us an opportunity right now to indicate to those of you listening some of the activities that will be taking place this afternoon over at Ward Park. Mike, both tents will be very busy today, not only with what was scheduled, but also to make up a couple of things that were rained out yesterday.
Well, right. Among some of the things that will be taking place, we've got gymnastics exhibition by the Jean School of Gymnastics, karate exhibition by the Fred Villari Studio of Self-Defense. Then at 5:15, we have the ice carving contest, and that was scheduled for today, and also a number of other events that had to be rescheduled. I believe at 3 o'clock we are going to have the pizza making and pizza tasting contest. Shortly after that, the frog jumping contest and then the ice carving. We've got fireworks tonight to kind of cap off Festival 88, and we've got a lot of great entertainment in the Massachusetts tent as well as the Anna Walker tent. And if you want to come out and see some great local entertainment, come on by Festival 88. We will be at the marketplace shortly after the parade ends. Our van will be stationed right on the pitcher's mound, 60 feet 6 inches from home plate on the baseball field at Ward Park. So come by and say hi to us. I will be there. John Facito should be there. Keishon Patrick and Michelle Breyer. Come by and say hi to us. Give us a howdy hi. And I think a lot of people had the feeling that this parade was over a few moments ago because of the space between units, and now they've started kind of filing back onto the parade route. So those of you who may be watching on Marlboro Cable Channel 30 know a disaster has not taken place. People just simply thought the parade had ended, so they started to disperse, and now they're kind of making their way back to the parade route. Before us right now is the Nancy Kelly Dance School, performers from Natick, Massachusetts.
All right, continuing along the parade route, finally we're starting to see a little bit of activity, and the dancers in colorful dresses of Kelly green and purple and blue and pink will be dancing their way down the street as finally this parade will resume. I see further up at about another 50 yards, there's another group of dancers coming along as well to present their wares. We are scheduled to see at least 3 more bands or marching units as such before this parade is over. We are in Division 4. This parade first started to pass our reviewing stand at 12:15, and it's now closing in on 2 o'clock, so it will be almost a 2-hour parade passing at one particular vantage point. Those of you on viewing on Channel 30 can see these 4 lovely young ladies who are going to dance for us in front of City Hall at the present time. Another 7 are in the next line. younger contingent follows. And the music you hear in the background is recorded music on a float that is following these dancers, which presents a little bit of inspiration for these young women. And this is a very, very colorful float. And can you read which dancers are these? This is from this very same Nancy Kelly group.
Well, I think it simply is to indicate how young you can be when you get started, and just exactly how dance can take you right through.
From the nursery days to the school days, as it says, the teen years and on to graduation, and then moments of love. Two young ladies with a big heart of kisses, marriage with the wedding cake, and then the golden years. That's what's depicted on Diploma on this day of June, it says, as we present it here in the month of September. Live and Let Live is on another large heart on this particular float. Lots of color and something to catch the attention of the viewers. And to go along with the MAD theme, don't drive drunk is the last word you get on that particular van. So the parade continues along Main Street in front of City Hall.
Just coming into sight is the contingency of Corvettes, and it looks to be rather massive, as it's just now getting past the Marlboro Senior Center down in the area of the Masonic Temple all the way down the street. Classic Corvettes up to late model Corvettes. I remember one of the first cars that I ever saw as a youngster that impressed me. I said, woo, this thing looks fast, was a Corvette. I think it was probably about a 1958. And that thing could move.
Well, a lot of young people, that's the car they wanted to own when they were able to get that license and dream of the day they could be behind the wheel of a Corvette. And you'll be able to see many of them at the park this afternoon at Ward Park as part of the Festival 88 this year. The St. Matthias Church float is the next item to pass in front of City Hall. And this is another quite colorful float that will depict a church steeple.
So this is the best of show float that is in front of us from St. Matthias Church.
And they even are depicting a colorful glass window.
Marlboro Hospital, its staff and management are pleased to bring you this Festival 88 report. In part, Marlboro Hospital wishes you a safe holiday and salutes its family of employees during Festival 88. Marlboro Hospital cares.
On the float of St. Matthias, you are Marlboro Pride, it says, and you'll notice that pretty much the theme of the parade this year, Marlboro Pride. Many of the organizations have followed through on that theme. Some of the, perhaps the parishioners are marching behind the float at the present time. And then another small marching unit will precede the parade of Corvettes heading down Main Street in Marlboro, as we're in the midst of the final division, Division 4 of the parade.
And down towards the very end of the street, just coming around past the Walker Building right now, I see a large flashing of lights and police vehicles, which would indicate we are coming towards the end of the parade, but we still have, I would think, about another 5 to 6 minutes of units and floats coming up.
The marching unit coming along now could very well be the Colonial Pipers Band from Boston. And they've been marching silently for a few minutes, but now, as they pass City Hall, are beginning to tune up, and perhaps we can hear a little bit of the music now from the Colonial Pipers Band of Boston.
listening to this broadcast over Great Radio WSRO and simultaneously on Marlboro Cable Channel 30 for those of you who have cable TV in the city of Marlboro. And here come the Corvettes, Dick.
All right. Colorful indeed as they come 2 by 2. The very bright red Corvette and a gray Corvette leading the parade. You had your choice of colors. Which would you pick, Michael?
Red.
Red. Red. All right.
Red.
I think a survey was taken of people's favorite color of automobile, and red usually is the winner.
Scott Sands' car used to be red.
It started out that way, didn't it? Now it's rust red.
But about 3 or 4 New England winters where he stubbornly refused to take his car off the road, it's fading to pink rapidly.
All right, some of these are very late model Corvettes, and others are earlier Corvettes. 1958. That's the one you dreamed about. What's coming up behind? Following the Corvettes, sort of a change of pace. Like a Model A.
Show off.
They're revving up. No racing on Main Street today, though.
Should we tell him that the police department's located about 400 feet down?
I think they must realize that.
Well, if they don't, they will.
They'll find out soon
Yeah, in
enough.
about 5 minutes.
All right. The Corvettes have halted in front of our reviewing stand at the present time, not moving as the parade has another lull, but looks like looking up towards West Main Street that it's going to be a very busy time coming along the parade route now. Looks very crowded with quite a bit more activity in this division number 4 following these Corvettes. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 of these Corvettes. Then a couple of antique cars, one an old station wagon. That's one of the oldest station wagons I've seen. They used to call them what, beach wagons?
Those? The Woodies? No, that's not a traditional Woody like the Beach Boys talk about.
Well, this goes back long before the Beach Boys, as that car does, of course.
Oh, is that a nice wagon?
But the terminology for station wagons, 30 years or more ago, I think you talked about owning a beach wagon. This is what they were called, a beach wagon. Now we call them station wagons.
I see.
But same thing.
I've had a couple of those in my life. They didn't work well. I called them stationary wagons. They just kind of like sat in the front yard for a while.
But with a large family, the wagons are good to have.
Necessity.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I know there's several years in my life I was glad I owned a station wagon. That's a fun vehicle, that old, I think we'll call it a beach wagon. Wooden frame. It's like an old Ford.
Now, I assume these cars are taken off the road here in about another 8 to 10 weeks and put in mothballs, so to speak, until late next spring.
You're speaking of the
any of
antique
these
cars?
Yeah, most of these cars, I would imagine.
These Corvettes will be going 12 months out of the year. And of course, you'll be able to see these Corvettes this afternoon at Ward Park. Now what appears to be a Model A, and the beach wagon is halted slightly as finally it begins to make its way in front of City Hall. And another marching unit will soon be headed down the street. It's anxious to move along and perform here as well. The Northern Knights Drum and Bugle Corps from Lawrence is expected to be along the next way. We can't quite make out which group it is at the present time, but anticipate that everything is in pretty much order. Wonder what's happening with Michelle and Kay Sean at this point, at the end of the route.
Well, at the end of the route, it's just that, the end of the route. Most of the participants, when they get to the end by Route 85, are coming back to watch their fellow paraders, if that's a word. We've just passed the Nancy Keller Jamsers and the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and right now I'm trying to restrain Kayshawn, who's trying to go after a Corvette.
Excellent looking automobiles, as you guys have just seen them pass by you. And right in front of them, some more guys in kilts, and Michelle's trying to do her best to decide which legs were better, the earlier kilts or the later kilts. We don't want to get her out of kilter, so to speak. Okay, all right, enough of that. And here come the Corvettes, and they just vary from every year. They look beautiful. One thing that just happened near the end of the route, too, and I was kind of disappointed because of the lull, people near the end did not wait for the end of the parade this year. They cleared out, and I think if they're listening, you might want to get back there because there's a lot to be missed. There's still another whole section of the parade that's passing us by here that you might want to see, including these classic-looking automobiles, starting with the newest and working its way back to the earlier Corvettes, some beautiful-looking automobiles, and made in America, I might add.
That's right. You drive a Corvette, isn't that true?
No, I drive the poor man's Corvette, but Mike Lorenz does drive a Vette. We can definitely say that that is true. And we're heading right towards the fire department right now is where we are. The crowd is still heavy here, which is good, because the people near the end of the route are missing out on perhaps the best part of the parade, including the best float in the parade from St. Matthias.
That's right. We're right outside the police and fire station, and I don't see Police Chief Barry anywhere. I wonder what that's all about, where he's been.
He's probably at your Sears store buying earplugs today, because he will be in the dunking booth, and I'm sure he'll be taunted and sunk a few times.
That's right. Most of the police officers that we spoke to today about safety told us that basically it's been a very uneventful parade as far as incidents go, and they're all gearing up for the dunking booth as well. A lot of police paychecks going to be spent at that particular booth. I wonder who it benefits. They're going to be making a lot of money.
I really don't know who it benefits. Do you, Michelle? Yeah, maybe Mike knows who that benefits.
Mike and Dick, you should be getting the end of the parade. Is that correct?
We're getting very close to the end of the parade. Yes, Michelle. We have a band going by us right now. And Dick, who is this band?
This is the Northern Knights Drum and Bugle Corps. They're from Lawrence, Massachusetts. And we kind of thought this might be the group that would be coming along. And they are presently performing, followed by a few more vehicles from Ted's Towing. They're presenting 4 of their towing vehicles here.
That is right, Dick. And these are the vehicles that will be along the were along the parade route, I'm sure, throughout the morning. There were towing vehicles that were illegally parked. So we have Ted to thank for that.
Aha. Well, I imagine there's a few of those they could locate along the way. And I tell you, the towing vehicles have come a long ways from the early days when you had a very simple tow truck. You find some situations where you need a vehicle like this to extract automobiles and some of the bad accidents that do take place.
These look like search and destroy vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Not only will they tow it, they will destroy it.
All right. I imagine these vehicles cost a pretty penny, too.
Oh.
We've got some more vehicles coming along at the present time. These are trucks.
Vintage dump trucks, it looks like.
A 10-wheeler right now in front of us. Green, it looks like a comparatively new vehicle being shown off in this parade. And a few more cabs coming along. As you get a chance to see a few trucks in the parade. These are part of the Majestic Racing Enterprise trucks. And we have quite a lineup of vehicles coming along at the present time. We do anticipate that there may be one more marching unit on the parade route. The Boston Crusaders Drum and Bugle Corps from Boston is supposed to bring up the rear of this parade after these motor vehicles. And And then the parade for 1988, Festival 88, will be history. Certainly has been a fine parade this year. Lots of different and unique presentations. We have several more trucks. Here's a gated truck. And then a few automobiles that are on display carrying a few dignitaries. And no sign of the final marching unit.
Well, actually, I think there is a, they're up there right around the Walker Building right now. So I think we could take a break in the action just to send it back very briefly to Keishan and Michelle along the end of the parade.
Well, we're getting the tow trucks that you spoke of. One thing that I do want to mention, although the parade is seen as the climax of Festival 88, we do have several events at Ward Park, and they'll be topped off by a performance by the Greater Marlborough Symphony Orchestra tonight. I believe that's at 8 o'clock, and that'll be finished off with a very elaborate fireworks show that you can see beautifully from Ward Park, from the marketplace setup, and Keishan and I were just discussing how exciting those fireworks should be.
I'm looking forward to fireworks. They're usually my favorite part of any festival, and last year I saw them. They were spectacular. And there are lots of secret areas where people can get the best view of them. A lot of people say Fremont is a nice spot where you can get up and watch the skyline. And I believe tonight now, with the clouds dissipating, it's going to make for a much better show. It's going to make the lights that more spectacular.
That's right. That's to happen at about 9 o'clock tonight. I believe it's an hour fireworks show. Is that what we heard?
Sure, Michelle.
We're not quite sure. We think that it's about an hour. We've spoken to quite a few people along the end of the parade. We have people from as far away as New York. Some people came in from Lee, Massachusetts, from Lawrence. We've seen quite a few floats from the outer communities. A lot of Metro West people that say they've been here year after year. You spoke with someone who is an old-time attender.
And she was also a performer in this, and unfortunately we couldn't get her on. She had strapped on her accordion and began to play a few tunes for us, but that was during a rather loud display of horns and other assorted noises down there. But people are very up-spirited about this, high spirits about the parade, and it does signal the end of summer, and thank God on a day when it still feels like summer, and the kids don't have to really think about what tomorrow and Wednesday have in store.
That's right. A lot of kids have told us that they're going to school this week. They're going back to school. They're glad that they could end their summer in a spectacular parade, joining in with the partying down at Ward Park, games and rides. You're going to be going on some of those rides, is that right?
Well, the less dangerous ones, I'll stick with the little motor cars and maybe the Ferris wheel, but that moonwalk, Michael Jackson's got it down, but he's got nothing on me. We'll see how that works out. A lot of kids have told us, too, that they're going to be avoiding school this week.
That's right. The younger children, those seem to be very happy about school starting, and when the weather is beautiful and you're out at a parade, it's hard to imagine being back in school. Mike, you're barely out of school, is that right? Would you be looking forward to school at this time of year?
I actually would. I always look forward to school, but we have reached the end of our segment of the parade, have we not, Dick?
Yes, it's all over now. The parade has concluded.
The party's over.
And it has been another magnificent parade for Marlborough, and our congratulations to the Cultural Affairs Committee for arranging another fine attraction for Festival 88.
We were certainly glad to be a part of it. Festival 88, the annual parade, and we would like to thank all of our great radio sponsors for being a part of it today. WSRO Great Radio, along with Marlborough Cable Channel 30, was very happy to bring it to you. Play-by-play, as you would say, Dick, and I would also like to thank our engineer right back in the studio at WSRO, Mark Sherwood.
Thank you, Mark. You've done a fine job. Scott Sands, producer of this, Michelle Breyer, and Keishan Patrick, of course, along the parade route, and yours truly, Dick Smith, with Mike Lorenz, atop the City Hall to describe this parade. Coming up later on, of course, we'll have more reports from the festival grounds, and tonight, of course, the fireworks will cap the whole event.
Well, see what they did down the bridge.
they condemned the bridge, so they weren't able to drive across to get to the boat. To get water. But he had some welding machine, and he couldn't take his welding machine. So he said to me, he says, "Can I bring it down here? And I'll be here 2 days." Okay. He was here 2.5 months. Finally, we were having our party.
No, I'm testing.
Pile drivers here, and got the whole dock. So it's good. It's good. I'm afraid that someone's going to be down there and curious, and someone's going to get hurt.
Who's the yellow boat? Is that his boat?
The yellow
In the
boat.
chute?
No, that's Dick's.
Dick's, yeah.
See,
Party boat yours?
No, Tony and Marilyn's.
Oh.
See, I used to own that big boat.
I know it, yeah.
Boy, that camera will never work again.
Muddy, though.
Get Judy. She's got her dark glasses on.
Yeah.
Well, you ready?
We're ready.
How's it?
Anthony! She's taking movie? Yes. Come up here? Yes. Why did you want to do that? For posterity. You want something to cover with her? Yeah. These flies are getting pretty thick around here. You want some Iran wrap or you want I scrubbed. Come on. You can't breathe in. Now, what is that? It's a tattoo. I see it back then. Real low. He was underwater a minute ago. Yeah. Okay. How about that hair? Bob says, Chuck, how do you want to do that? You want to put them on a layaway? Do you want to be good? He says, I'll take anything. I'm glad I didn't say I wanted one that was $1,400, $1,500. What do you do, take it away? Yeah. You took them away from somebody? Baby parlor. Oh! Let's go get them back. Come on, go give them back. You should have brought in. Come on, go give them back. Go give them back.
I bet you I can get at least 5 or 6 pounds.
They put it on right after the new one.
He's not shy.
And then back out the other way.
Anthony's not shy. He just walked right over here and took them right out.
He has a pair just like him.
I know, exactly. He just walked right over. You're wonderful. You're really neat. Let him go. Just like me, I'm bald. I'm going to find out what's going on. Hey, he's bald. He's not bashful, that's for sure. Oh, look. The other one wants Polly's laugh. It's here. When we do this. Yes. Free. Yes. It'll be there. No, it's too cold. Howie? Okay. Go through them all.
We went out there no time, came right back in. 5 minutes, how many beers you buying? I gotta buy them 2. You got 4 winners out of the 6. I could have told you that when you were going out.
Did she help you? Oh, God, don't worry about it. You can't get that way. You can't get that way. I can't get that way. You got nothing on your mouth. Unless you buy it, you got food in your mouth. I'm sorry, you waited like, I'm going to break my mouth again. I looked awful.
Imagine the Hindenburg with a big bow.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, we got a baby crying. And Carol will show you how. Get your fingers out of my bed. Come back here with that. Come back here with that. Come back here with that.
What you got there?
That changed their mind. That changed their mind. Ew, ew. Man, this is disgusting. I know you can kick it out. I did all the work. She watched me. I got
Oh, yeah.
What, no skiing?